Okay. And 3, 2, 1. Welcome, Olivia Hollandsworth. It is wonderful to have you.
The full name.
Yeah. I didn't do the full name. I could.
Yeah, you could, but...
But, yeah, we don't have to tell people that.
Mm-mm.
But, how long have you been asking me about doing this? I feel like it's been a long time.
It's been a while. I don't remember the first time I asked you, but whenever we started hanging out again, I'm pretty sure I brought it up probably immediately. I was probably like, when can I be on your podcast?
Yeah.
I have no reason to be on a podcast, but...
I disagree. But, I mean, I was talking to Billy earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, he was asking about it for a second. And he was like, what do you talk about? Whatever, like, what do you do? And I was like, I don't know, I just like to get to know people, I guess. And I was like, I actually want to talk to you since you're, like, staying here.
Yeah.
And see, like, what's up.
Yeah.
You know?
How's your life going?
Yeah. And then he was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he said he was like, yeah, I'd be interested. But kind of, he's in a sarcastic way. Yeah. The classic Billy way.
The Billy way, yeah. For sure.
For anyone, I don't know, no one really knows, but Billy is Josh's friend, and he currently lives in my house for the next month and a half, because he's, if he wasn't here, he'd be homeless.
Yeah.
That sounds so bad. I'm not trying to badmouth Billy.
Homeless.
He just wanted a place to stay
Right.
and we're here for another month and a half, so.
Yeah.
Me and Caleb said yes under the strict, not super strict, but like, I don't know. We could kick you out if we want to, like if we feel the need to.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is, I don't know. I was gonna say, that's probably not going to happen. Probably won't kick him out.
I doubt it. I mean, it's only a month and a half. I mean, he'd have to do something really bad or just like be a complete asshole, and he's not really a complete asshole.
Yeah.
You can get to him. But yeah, you just texted me earlier today and wanted to do something.
Yeah, I was just like...
So I'm wondering what's on your mind.
What's on my mind?
Yeah, what's on your mind?
I don't really have any... I'm like, I don't have any thoughts ever. I don't know. Like, I was just thinking about it because I knew that you asked, like, us about tomorrow. And I was like, I don't know. Kendrick was supposed to go to drill this weekend, and then he decided not to. And so I was like, oh, then I'll probably be busy tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
like
I was just like,
night.
yeah. So I was like, let me see what's going on today and just do it. Yeah. I guess I also just wanted to be like, I don't know, like talk to somebody that I'm familiar with, even if it's in this way.
In the public way.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah. It doesn't really phase me that much anymore to like I don't know, talk in front of a microphone in that way. Maybe it's just because no one's really watching.
Exactly.
Which is kind of comforting.
Yeah, it's like this is not gonna like pop off.
Yeah, no,
like it's
no one's really gonna watch.
Yeah.
The only people that will watch are people that know me and know me enough to possibly be interested, or not even, or maybe not even interested, just be like, like oh my god, like he's got a podcast, I gotta support it because he's like my bro, like stuff like that.
Yeah, like let me just see what's
what
exactly.
This is about. Like they don't really care, but which that I wouldn't say that bothers me, but there's two different types of people, I guess, that watch it, and then I guess the third would be like my mom. She watches sometimes.
Does she?
Yeah.
I'm like, hi Kim.
She actually got hi mom.
Hi.
She actually got really
that would make me uncomfortable.
She got offended for a while because I didn't like talk about it much. Or not even that. First of all, Kayla was the one who told her that this whole idea was happening.
It existed.
But I didn't tell her like where she could find it for like the first like month or so of me doing it. Probably more than that, honestly. Maybe it was like 2 or 3. But she was like, "Do you just not want me to watch it?" And I was like, "I don't think you'd like it."
You're like, "I don't think you'd get it." Not even that.
Yeah, I just don't think you'd like it that much. You're like, "But I want to hear my son. Like, I just want to hear my son. I want to hear what's on your mind."
Yeah, I wonder if she...
Even if you use... And she said this. She was like, even if you use colorful language.
Colorful language. Yeah, I wonder if she even like...
Like, fuck. Like that
Yeah,
word.
like fuck.
Yeah.
I wonder if she even listens to the whole thing.
I doubt it. I don't think anyone probably does.
No.
I doubt it.
Yeah. I mean...
I looked up the analytics like a couple times. Like... And the average like duration of like YouTube was like it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but I get it. People's attention spans are small.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly. I mean, it's not just me because I mean I listen to a lot of long podcasts, but that's just me.
Yeah, but if I'm doing that, if I'm listening to a long podcast, I'm doing something else. Like, you know, it's like definitely. Not just sitting there watching it or listening to it. So.
Well, I can sit there and watch it, but I can't sit there and listen to it. I can watch it.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
I can, like, same with audiobooks. Like, I cannot just sit. Generally, I can't, like, sit down and, like, just listen to an audiobook.
Yeah. I've never tried. Yeah. I don't think audiobooks, like, I don't know. I've just never tried to listen to an audiobook.
Like, ever?
I have for, like, when I was in high school and even college, like, when I had to read plays and stuff, I would just, like, listen to the audio. And I would still be doing stuff while I was listening to the audio. Yeah. So, yeah, the only times I've tried is, like, I'm busy.
I tried to do it. Well, I didn't try to do it. Caleb, this was a long time ago. I mean, we were still living here, but Caleb, he said, "You're like, I really want to show you this, like, audiobook." And I was like, okay. And then he just plays it, and we're sitting down in the living room, and we're just, like, listening to it. It was, like, it was only, like, I don't know, probably 10 minutes long. It was not, It was, like, a short story. Yeah. Basically. Like a poem or something. But there were so many times when I was listening to it, just sitting there, like, kind of, I was very fidgety. I was like, fuck, what am I?
Yeah, it's like, I'm just sitting here.
I need to do something, like. Yeah. And it was hard for me to just sit down and just, like, shut my eyes. But, I don't know, I feel like that's a new thing. Not new thing, but, I mean, I think about this a lot whenever I start my car. My music, I don't have the radio, so it waits for me to, like, I have the aux, so it waits for me to, like, play the song. And sometimes I'm like, a lot of times I feel myself, if I don't play it immediately, I can feel myself kind of itching for it. I'm like, I need to play something. Like,
right.
I need to play something. Yeah. And it's not even, like, something specific. Sometimes it is, and that's good. That's better. But sometimes a lot of times, it's really just, like, the sound of the outside world and just, like, my car running is, like, not enough.
Yeah,
I need more stimulation. I don't like that feeling.
Yeah. I don't have, my car doesn't have a working, like, aux. So it's either I have to listen to CDs, and, like, those can get tiring. I have a lot of CDs. I just don't like changing them a lot. So I do the illegal thing, and maybe I shouldn't admit this in public, but I, like, listen to, like, music with, like, AirPods or, like, my.
I don't think that's illegal.
It's illegal because it's, like, an obstruction of, like.
It depends on the state. Hearing. I know.
I don't know if it's illegal here. I really don't know. I'm just assuming.
I remember that.
That's why I do that.
Because my dad used to talk about this. Yeah. Me and Jesse would kind of argue with him about it whenever we would go on road trips. Yeah. About us just, like, having our earbuds in whenever we're, like, driving, I guess. And I know that in Florida at the time, so I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, it was not illegal. But in Georgia, which you passed through, it was illegal. And then he would, like, we'd go into Georgia and, like, hey, you can't wear this. And I'm like, all right. And I just put one of them in. I just put one of them in on the left.
Yeah. If I see a cop, I, like, take out my left one just to be like, they didn't see me.
Like, sometimes I really like having the. I mean, I understand why it can be constricting, but sometimes I do normally use the aux, but like recently I was finishing an audiobook on my way home, and I had like 45 minutes left, and it's like a 20-minute drive, so I drove a little more. But I was listening to it on my aux, and I was like, I don't like this. It's not as loud as I want it to be, so I just put my headphones in and, like, put the noise canceling on. So
yeah.
Like,
oh really, no.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it was late. It was like midnight, so it's like really on the road.
I mean, it's gotten me in trouble, like, not real trouble, but it's gotten me in trouble a couple times because, like, I will be listening to it so loud. Like, I just listen to music usually, sometimes podcasts, but, like, I'll listen to it so loud that, like, I won't hear, like, a siren or something. Yeah, like, I've done that. I did that one time where I pulled in front of an ambulance. Ooh. And then I was like, oh, shit, let me change lanes. Yeah. Because I had my music up loud.
I've done that before with just my aux when my music is loud. Yeah. And I won't hear the siren, but, like, and the only reason I'll notice it is because I'll look in my mirror and it'll just be, like, really bright lights coming.
It's also worse for when there's, like, a police siren in a song. It's like more real than if it's playing from your car speaker. It's like, oh wait. Yeah. That's not real.
But it's scary sometimes.
Yeah.
You've never been in an accident, have you?
I've been in an accident, but not in my own car.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at Sarah Beth.
Oh.
My sister for the listeners.
Yeah, the listeners who don't know.
Yeah.
Was it bad?
I mean, it totaled her car. It was like we were on our way to school, like in high school, and so it was like the morning, and somebody like pulled out in front of us, and then she never even like my sister got hit by the airbag really hard, and her face was bleeding when she got out of the car. I had to call 911, and I called my dad because he's a paramedic, or he was at the time, and he was at work, so I called him after because I was like, whatever. But the lady who we hit, because it was her fault, but we hit her because she pulled out in front of us. She never like talked to us or anything. Didn't say sorry, like literally nothing. I heard her. She was probably like 15, maybe 20 feet away, maybe even further than that. Say something like, well, maybe she was going too fast, like we were going over the speed limit or something. I was like, no, like we were, both me and my sister were like screaming, like, no, when she pulled out in front of us. Yeah. And then it was like a 3-car wreck because I don't know how it happened, but because the airbags deployed, my sister wasn't like in control of the car really. We landed in the grass. But like, I think what happened was that we hit the car, and then either, I think the car behind us, I don't know what happened, if we like, if she swerved the wrong way or whatever. Somehow they hit our car too, or I think they hit our car like in the back because of everything. So it was funny. Like, it wasn't funny, but it was weird because it was, you probably don't know him. Should I even say it?
You can say it. It's been a while.
Stephen Ellis. You probably don't know him.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be related to Austin Ellis, would he?
No. Okay. He was in my sister's grade, and like I had class with him.
Okay.
Like, he was somebody that I knew and I liked a lot, and I just thought it's kind of ironic. Like, not ironic, but...
Because they were both going to school.
Yeah, we were all going to school. And then there was people like texting me or Snapchatting me and being like, are you okay? Because they like drove past us.
I would hate that.
Yeah.
That would
so
suck.
It was a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you would have only been like 15 or something?
Yeah, I was 15, yeah.
Were you like scared, I guess, I'm assuming?
I don't know. Honestly, I was scared in the moment, and like both me and my sister were literally screaming when she like lost control of the car, I guess. Yeah. So I remember that, and like but again, I had to like handle it, you know? Like, I had to call the cops. There were a bunch of people that stopped their cars around because they saw it happen. So like there were adults around, but like I had to call the cops. I had to call my dad. Like, I just felt like you know, I had something to do. My sister, even though she's dramatic, I mean, obviously she was like injured, but it was just like facial injuries, so it's not like super bad, but she was just like bleeding profusely, and obviously she was probably confused too, so she probably thought it was worse than it actually was. But like, yeah, somebody gave me paper towels, or gave her paper towels to like clean up the blood, and she was just like sitting there in shock, and I was the one handling it, so I wasn't really like scared, I guess, because I was like in charge at the moment. Do remember feeling like I got ran over by a truck though, like the next day, and maybe even later that day. Like, my back was just so messed up.
Yeah.
So
did it feel like an automatic, like I have to be what's the word, like you had to be in control of the situation because your sister was not, she was in shock and she wasn't able to be.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. And
like, did you just automatically fill the role, I guess?
Yeah, because I remember like opening the door, and like after we stopped, like the car stopped, I opened the door immediately, I'm pretty sure. Like, I guess I unbuckled my seatbelt and like opened the door. I probably asked her if she was okay or whatever, and she probably said no. I don't know. But she eventually, I think she got out at the same time as me. Maybe it was a little bit delayed, but I was just like, let's get out of here. But yeah.
Do you ever think moments like that, like, give you strengthen your bond with those people?
That's a good question. I think so, I guess. But, like, I don't know. It's my sister.
Yeah.
So it's, like, kind of a hard question.
I've only been in a couple.
Yeah.
None of them are that bad.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever been in. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. Let me knock on wood. But, like, you know. I'm glad I haven't been in a wreck, like, in my own car.
Yeah.
Like, that's nice.
Oh, yeah, no, I guess I've been in 3 then. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I was driving for the last one, but I wasn't. Some guy just pulled out in front of, like, of a lane and just, like, hit me. And then I hit the other car next to me.
Yeah, because of him.
Which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying.
And then I got my car totaled.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it still worked, I would still drive it.
Yeah.
I remember I was annoyed.
Kind of like Julia's car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was in there whenever she wrecked it.
Yeah.
The first time.
Yeah.
But I remember I got annoyed because I guess I just wasn't thinking. But I filled up my gas tank almost all the way. And then maybe a couple days after, or maybe it was honestly before, I can't remember if it was before, where they told me, like, yeah, your car's totaled, we're going to have to take it.
And you filled your gas tank.
And I filled my gas tank about all
like,
the way. But they were 2 days late in picking it up. So whenever the night would hit, on, like, those 2 nights, I was like, they're not coming tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to drive it. Like, one time I went to go to Nashville to see a movie.
Yeah.
Another time I just, like, drove to Bree's house. And, like, I don't know. Just hung out. I was like, hey, it's my car. It's still here.
It's still here. I have it.
And I got it with the E-light on. I was like, let's fucking go. I actually used the gas that I had, and I was proud of it.
That's honestly lucky, because I would be very annoyed if I had to do that.
Yeah, I didn't drive it to work though, just in case if they came to get it that day.
Right.
But, yeah, I just drove it at night whenever I was able to.
That reminds me of when I had it's not a wreck technically, but I had a rental car, and I popped the tires in my rental car.
Yeah.
Because, that was bad. It was like day after Halloween, I think. Or Halloween. Because I'm pretty sure Halloween was on a Monday. I don't know. I think it was Halloween. I had skipped class because my grandma's, like, funeral was that same weekend, so I didn't go to class. And I was just, like, and Kendrick skipped work, and we just, like, hung out. And then I popped my tires in the rental car, and he came and, like...
How do they pop?
I don't know if I can disclose this information.
Oh, for, like, insurance purposes or something like that? Or
maybe.
Well, I guess it was a rental. It's hard.
Yeah. It's more just, like... I'm maybe lied about it. So
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
that's
fine,
that's fine.
I don't know if I could tell the whole truth, but like, yeah. So I popped the tires, both of the tires on the right side, because I hit, like, I can tell you how I hit the
curb, right?
Like the curb, yeah. And so Kendrick came and, like, sat with me, and I was wearing platform shoes because I had gone to, like, a Halloween party that weekend, and I just, like, kind of, like, stayed at Kendrick's house all weekend, and those were the only shoes I had because I forgot to bring other shoes. So I was wearing platform shoes, and then I was calling a bunch of people. It was not a good experience. And then when the tow truck got there, it was like somebody that my dad knew, luckily. When the tow truck got there and I had to get out of my car in these platform shoes and an outfit that didn't, like, match at all, I was just like...
That's what you were thinking about?
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the car too, but I wasn't, like...
You were like, people are going to see me like this.
Yeah. And Kendrick drove me home, obviously. I don't even remember... I guess I drove my mom's car to school the next day, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I was like,
I don't know if this is a good comparison, but that really... I don't know. Sometimes I think about how embarrassing it would be to, like, die in front of people. Like, have a heart attack, you know? Like that's what that makes me think of. Like whenever you
that would be embarrassing.
Yeah, it just makes me think of like, damn, people are gonna see you just looking stupid, and then you're gonna die. Like that's like the worst, two of the worst things. Like,
but
right
they don't.
there.
Yeah, I know, but they're not thinking, oh, look how stupid this guy
I
looks.
know.
Like that's
I'm
not.
Sure. Nah, some of them might be.
They might.
Some of them might be.
But also no. Like they're not thinking about
like, you
how
probably just have like a stupid face of like shock.
Well, yeah.
That you just can't control.
Yeah.
Then maybe your body's like fucking. I don't know.
Good question though. How do you like? Can I ask this question? How do you expect to die?
Me personally?
Yeah. Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
I mean, my hope would be that I die at a ripe old age of like mid-80s.
Right. Everybody wants that.
Yeah.
And that's
and
fair.
The reason I think I want that is because it's kind of like.
That's my hope too.
That doesn't really scare me to some extent. Like, it doesn't really scare me because it kind of just feels like the circle of life and like just nature just doing its thing.
Anything else would be
like a
scary.
Tragic ending of just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Getting in a serious car accident or just like, I don't know, a drive-by shooting or something. Like, that seems very sad.
It's, yeah.
Like, it seems like an interruption of like where their life was supposed to go, you know? Like,
right.
You know,
like it wasn't supposed to happen.
Even though it's, you know, if you're a Christian, you're like, but that's what was supposed to happen.
Yeah,
like,
that's God. It was God's
part of
time.
God's plan.
Yeah, God's plan.
You know? Yeah, but
He wanted to take you. Whatever else they say, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's hard to get past the tragic kind of aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, they could have lived the whole of their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we know about that.
I would say like how I think I'm going to go. Sometimes I think about if, like, maybe I'll fall off something and just like die.
Interesting.
Like a mountain or something.
Yeah.
Like doing something that maybe I shouldn't do. Maybe I'm on a hiking trail and I fall.
Something.
I was at this place called Ozone Falls in early May, and it's a really steep trail. And for one, I was thinking about, like, in probably 15 years, I don't know if I'll be able to do this trail. Like, I really don't know.
Yeah,
like, it's kind of hard. It was
hard.
My knees were shaking a little bit when I was like,
I've done that before, but
yeah.
But
I was also thinking, like, if I fall right here, like, I'm not gonna live. And not only that, I was thinking again. I was like, there's a bunch of people here, and I'm gonna die in front of these people, and not even like in an embarrassing way, but like I'm gonna scar these people and this place for these people.
Yeah,
like from forever, and that's so disturbing. I hate that.
That is disturbing.
Yeah.
Well, like, I guess I'll answer the question too, but I guess I can talk about it afterwards. But I am one of those people that thinks I'm gonna die in some tragic accident, but I think that part of it is like, obviously I don't hope to, but that's just kind of always the feeling that I've had. Because if it's not...
Here's a question. Do you think you hope for it so it just is over?
No,
but I'm saying if it's over and then you're dead, then you don't have to continue life going like, oh my God, I'm going to die in this tragic accident like right now.
I mean, that's true, but like, I'm not like hoping that it's over or anything. I think that... Because I've thought about it and thought about like any of those ways of dying. Obviously you want to die instantly, like you don't want to die in a lot of pain, like that's really scary, but like in most tragic accidents it's not really instant either, so it'd be like there would be a lot of pain that comes with it, and that's scary. It's like, obviously I don't want that, but I've always just like saw that for myself, and almost in a way it seems a little bit like, because I mean, we can get into this. I feel like this is like a good topic for us to talk about just because we talk about it anyways. But like, I feel like it's almost like not egotistical. That's not the right word, but like something in that vein, in that nature, for me to be like, oh, I died in a tragic accident that so many people like, you know, had their eyes on or whatever. Like that's like
that so many people know about.
Like
now?
That's not the way I think of it, but like. I guess not I don't know. That's not the way I think of it subconsciously, I guess. But, like, consciously, I'm like, okay, Olivia, like, hold your horses. Like, that's not right. But yeah.
When you say tragic, though, are you thinking more of kind of like I said, like kind of an interruption, like something out of your own world happens, like some guy who's like robbing you or something like that, or just I don't know, hits you with a car or something like that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, definitely out of my own like world, like nothing that I would be in control of. I guess.
Okay.
But like, yeah, car accident is like number one. But I don't know. I'm also a really paranoid person. So I like think about those things a lot, like what you're saying, like somebody just like killed me somehow. I've thought about that a lot. I've thought like, how have I not gotten kidnapped sometimes? Not because I'm not like a diligent like person when I'm like out, especially when I'm alone. I also have a like resting bitch face. Mm-hmm. So I think I scare people a little bit into not fucking with me, but like, yeah, I think that too. When I was little, I was so scared of being kidnapped, like ridiculously scared of everybody and all adults really, but yeah.
I think my fear when I was a kid was being like one of the kids in the movies that was like a cancer patient, you know, like that was my fear. I was like, what if I have cancer? And I was always scared of the doctor because of that. I was like, I would never tell them like straight up like anything.
I'm scared of the doctor. Everything's fine. I'm scared of the doctor now because of that. I'm like, what if I have cancer?
Yeah. Like I just don't want to know.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like Kendrick and I, like, I guess it's like kind of a joke, but it's kind of a joke between us where I'm like, oh, you have a brain tumor, which is like not a great joke. Sorry to people with brain tumors. Like, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but he has like chronic migraines. Yeah. And like he had other, like his eye was twitching a lot for like a while, and I was like, oh, it's the brain tumor. And we'd make jokes about it a lot, and then we talked about it, and he was like, well, if I had cancer, like I'm not getting chemo, like I'm just gonna die. And I was like, why would you do that? I was like, no, like you can't just die. That's not. Yeah. But also that's a selfish perspective for me, because it's like I want you to live for me, but if I were in your shoes, if I had cancer, I probably wouldn't get chemo either. I'd probably be like, let it take me. This is my time. I
think I would definitely get chemo if I got it like now. Yeah. If I get it when I'm like 60 like older, or 50, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think like right now in like this age range, I would probably try. But if I, again, like you said, if I was older, probably even in my 30s, I'd probably be like, whatever. Like,
yeah, I guess my time to go. It just depends. Like, if I think that I have the physical capability somewhere within me to like possibly beat this thing.
I also think that I have a like, I've always thought that I was going to die young too, but that is a psychological like trauma that I have with my like say my parents, but really it's my mom. And so like I've always thought that, because she was kind of like...
Can you explain?
Yeah, she was kind of like, she believed in a lot of conspiracy theories about like the world ending and stuff, like the 2012 conspiracy theory. Yeah. She believed that, and as a child, she would talk a lot about things like that and about like what would happen. And I was like 7 and 8 years old, like hearing these things all the time, like what would happen in an apocalypse situation. And I was like, oh, well, I'm never going to like, I didn't think I was going to live to see where I am right now. And it's been that way for years now, where I'm like, I didn't think I was going to live to this age or that age. And so it's like, I think I'm also waiting for something to happen where it's like, I guess not going to validate me, because then I'll be dead, but it'll kind of validate my reasoning for not being like...
The torment of like, what if I die right now?
Yeah, exactly. End, like, I will die young, I guess. And I've always thought that, because that's kind of what I was made to think as a child, so... Yeah. Like, and that's not her fault. Like, it is to an extent. But she wasn't doing it maliciously, obviously. She wasn't trying to, like, hurt me on purpose or scare me on purpose. It was just, like, stuff that she was dealing with and stuff that she was scared about in her own certain way. And I was just too young to be hearing about it. Mm-hmm. And that's really where the problem was. It wasn't like with it exactly. But it's something that like I still deal with. And it's something that she still deals with. Like she's not like 100% like about those things. Mm-hmm. And neither am I. So
I still I think it's just more of a fear than like an actual expectation, but it becomes an expectation when the fear is a lot. But yeah, I definitely fear a lot that like I'm just gonna die really, really young.
Yeah.
And not be able to do a lot of the things that I want to do.
Yeah, I get that. It's definitely more of a fear now than an expectation. Excuse me, but sometimes it feels like an expectation, like just depending on where I'm at mentally, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's like, not like, I wish that would happen, but it's kind of like, I wish that would happen. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm ever like really down in the dumps, that's one of my thoughts where I'm like, I didn't ever expect to live this long, like ever. And I'm only 21 and it's like, that's not a long life at all, but it's like, I never expected to live this long. And, like, it's like, why am I still alive?
That's the weird thing, too, because you say it's, like, not a long life at all because
but it is.
Our scaling is like, we know people that are, like, 90, so it's really, like, not long at all. But to you and me, it's, like,
it is long.
Our whole life.
Yeah.
That is the longest ever.
And people, obviously, like, people die every day that are younger than that. And so they lived their whole life, even if it wasn't, like, what it should have been.
Yeah.
Grief is a weird thing, too.
Yeah.
Like, this is a side note, I guess it kind of relates, but, like, obviously my grandma died in October, and, like, literally, like, 2 or 3 days ago, I put on this shirt that reminded me of one of the times, like, I went out with my grandma when she was, like, when she had dementia, and it was kind of, like, getting to the point where she couldn't really be out in public because she was causing like a scene or like and I just put the shirt on and I was like just like got tears in my eyes.
Did you put the shirt on because of that, or you just put it on and then you realized after you put it on?
It was the latter. Like I put it on because I was like, I could wear this, and then I thought about it and I was like,
for a second.
Yeah, and I was like, I had tears in my eyes and I was like, damn, I miss my grandma.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just, grief is weird like that.
Yeah, it's hard to know how to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes it really baffles me a lot whenever I hear, like, I don't know, like I listen to a good amount of podcasts and then just sometimes people casually talk about like friends of theirs that have died, and I'm just thinking like, I don't think I could talk about it like this.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could.
Definitely not in a casual way.
In like a passing way. Yeah.
Yeah.
No pun intended, I guess, but
yeah.
Like, it just seems so hard for me. And I think about like, I mean, just all the people that I know in this moment is like a lot of people. And I'm just thinking about like, I mean, there's a possibility, I guess, that I could outlive every single one of them.
Right.
I guess, but even if that's the case, like I have to watch every single one of these people like die.
Yeah. And even, yeah, exactly. And like, I'm not going to air anything out, obviously, but like even in like the friend group that we're in, it feels like it could be any day for some people. You know what I mean? Like not entirely, because that's not what you're thinking about all the time, but like sometimes it's like you never know. And again, I'm a paranoid person, so that's something that I do like think about, not frequently, but sometimes, where I'm like, and then you think about like statistics and probability and stuff, and I don't really know the statistics or probability, but I'm like, there's probably some sort of chance that everybody I'm friends with right now, like one of them might not die soon, but like, you know, in the next 5 or 10 years or so, like, which is still too young.
Like sometimes when I hear all this stuff from just people that I listen to, I think, like, maybe, like, I mean, just you and me, I guess, because we knew this guy, but, like, maybe we just got luck. Like, just Ethan, our friend Ethan Economy died.
I've been thinking about him
6 years ago?
the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was longer was it?
I want to say it was about 5 or 6, yeah.
I think it was like junior year of high school.
Oh, yeah, he was still in high school.
Junior year?
Yeah.
So it was probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But sometimes I think maybe we just got lucky that it was only him. And that sounds so bad because it's all about me.
Yeah.
You know? But I don't know. It's just the way that I defaultly think about things, I guess.
I don't know. I have chills right now for some reason, but I still have his picture in my wallet, and I've had it it's literally his the thing that they give you at funerals. Is it their obituary?
Yeah, obituary.
Yeah, I still have.
You cut the picture out?
No, it's just folded up, but it's just his picture, and I've had it in my wallet since his funeral. And I don't know. That's something I think about often.
Do you think there's a part of you that, have you ever wanted to take it out?
No, actually. I've never wanted to take it out. I also have a picture of him in my room, which might be weird, but it's on my altar now, but it was just in my room for a while. It's the same picture, but yeah, I don't know. I've never thought about taking it out. I feel weird about it sometimes because I don't think that he and I were really that close at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm why are you holding on to this person, or is it performative? I don't think it is, because I think I just have this care and capacity and of love for people. But when it happened, it kind of hit me hard because we had just been talking about we talked not a lot, but we talked maybe 3 or 4 times about oh, we need to hang out soon. And then he died, and so we could never hang out again. So I think that's also what it was.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I think about how often, I guess for my case, how often I would even pass through his head. Just whenever the last couple of years when I didn't really know him that well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
How close was I really to him?
Yeah, I'm sure I didn't pass through his head that much either. Yeah. But yeah, I still leave comments on his Instagram from time to time. Mm-hmm. I know a bunch of people do, but and then I'll read through them too, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I think I left 1 or 2.
Yeah, I've left a few. And that year, I think it was the same year, I did a play called Addict. And I read, it was just a series of monologues. I'm pretty sure you came and saw it, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was a series of monologues, and I had the last monologue. And it was something that the director had wrote herself. And the director, Jamie Stevens, is one of my, I don't ever know what to call her. She's a friend, but she's also more a mentor to me in a way. Because she's, way older than me. And I'm still a little bit scared of her. But,
she was intimidating.
Yeah, I started doing shows for her when I was 16. I'm 21 now, and the first show I did with her, I was 15, but yeah, we're just we're friends. But anyways, she wrote it herself, and it was about somebody that she had lost in a tragic accident. And I just remembered being I read the side for the audition, and instantly I was oh my god, this reminds me of Ethan so much, because my role was called the survivor, because everybody else in the play dies due to addiction. And it was his accident was in the realm of that. It wasn't addiction, obviously, but it was realm of drugs and alcohol. So it was very fitting, I guess. And that's why I have his picture on my altar, because we used his picture in the show on the altar that we had. But yeah, so I'm giving a eulogy at a funeral in this play about a friend that died. Technically, technically it's about everybody who passed away in the play, but I'm talking about a singular person, but it could be applied to any of those people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember reading the side for the audition and being oh my god, and then I got the part and I was oh my gosh. And there were like weird things that would happen. Like the day he died, I thought about him that day randomly without even knowing that he had died. I was like thinking about him, and I was thinking about like something that happened with like him and Mr. Brooks in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about him.
What did he teach again?
He teaches like geography, like 7th grade.
Okay.
He left during our 7th grade year because he went to Central. But
okay.
Yeah, so I was thinking about Ethan and like something that Mr. Brooks said to him, and then eventually, I don't know, I found out that he died, and I was like, whoa, because I was just thinking about him today. But like during this play, like weird things were happening. Like I remember his ex-girlfriend, or maybe even his girlfriend, he was already like deceased at the time, but like whoever he had dated last, like had logged into his Instagram and like went live on his Instagram.
I remember this.
During a show that I was doing, like of that run. And I was like, oh my God, because my friend Abby went to high school with him, and even though she didn't know him like that well, like one of his, pretty sure his last photo on Instagram has her in it. And so Abby is one of my close friends, and at the time we were just becoming friends, I guess. Like we had done, this was our 3rd show together in like the span of like 6 months. So, you know, but she knew him, and I would just remember telling Abby and being like, oh my God, like backstage about that. And like just like certain things like that always happened with like me and him specifically. Like on his birthday, I'm pretty sure I like wrote something about him in like creative writing class, like junior year, which I guess means he probably died sophomore year of high school. Because I don't think, or maybe it was junior year. I just don't think it was the same year, but it could have been. But like him and Sydney Smith share a birthday.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even know that.
And so I knew it was her. Like I don't think I knew it was her birthday at the time. I think I realized afterwards, but I was like writing about him in class because I wrote like something about him, and it was called What July Lost, I'm pretty sure, because I think he died in July. So yeah, there was always just like weird things that would happen where I was like, I feel like a connection to him, even if it wasn't like a present connection when he was alive. I guess.
I remember that. I honestly forgot about that until you mentioned it, but that weird Instagram live thing that happened, and I don't even know why I saw it or why, because I remember getting a notification about that he had just gone live, and I was like, what is going on?
I don't even remember.
And I think it was just stupid stuff. Like I think this girl was like partying.
I think she was drunk or
I think she
something.
was drunk and like partying with her friends or something.
And I understand.
It was very disturbing.
Obviously, grief is a weird thing. That's kind of how we got to this topic. So I get it. Like, you know, like, but it was just the fact that she even logged onto his Instagram.
Very bad taste.
Yeah,
but just the whole live video thing. I mean, logging his account that's
okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I wonder. I don't know if you can send DMs to like memorial accounts because his account is like in memoriam now. And so it's never...
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. If you go on his profile, it says it too.
Oh.
Yeah, so his account is like in memoriam. But at the time it wasn't because it was still fresh, I'm pretty sure. It was only... Addict was in March and he died in July.
So
7
months later.
Yeah, so it was... I don't think it was official yet. It is now, but... I think it's also like one of those things where like the page won't get deleted because it's a memorial.
That's good.
Yeah. I just wonder I wonder if he gets DMs, you know? Like if people send him messages. I know I like have commented things that are like mildly vulnerable like under his posts.
Yeah, when you're thinking DMs, you're thinking about stuff like
people,
I miss you and stuff like that.
And like saying long things. Because I mean, I think that's a normal thing for people to like text people or message people that have died to be like, I miss you. Like it's hard without you, you know? So I wonder if he had any DMs or if he gets them now. Like, I don't know. Does he get DMs in heaven?
Yeah, I think that and I don't mean this to any slight of him, obviously, just because I didn't really know him super well in the end, like the last couple of years, but I think a lot of the thoughts that I had about him way more to do with me, like, because I think and I thought similar about, like, it's harder without you. But I think that more had to do with, like, it's harder for me to deal with the fact that, like, someone that I knew that was my age, like, died.
Yeah. I totally get that, because that's kind of how I feel about it too. It's like, am I really... I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought.
I don't know. Am I doing this, like, out of care for the person that was?
Right. Or is it like a fear thing, like, for myself? Like, again, that's like why I was like, is it performative? Because, like you said, like, neither of us really knew him at that time of his life. Like, we knew him when we were, like, in my words, babies, because we were in middle school. And for me, elementary school too. Like, one of, like, the picture I posted when he died. Again, that's another thing. Like, the picture I posted when he died was of me and him in 4th grade. But that's another thing too. Like, I'm sure I still have that Instagram post on my Instagram, but there's a chance that what I posted and, like, the memories that I described in the message or, like, in the caption might have been, like, memories that I just misremembered, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's such a exactly. Like, there's such a chance that that's not true.
Yeah. And
I know his mom has, like, those things printed out in a scrapbook because it was at his funeral, and I was like, what are the chances that this isn't even real? Like, you know, like, what I said might not even be true. I want it to be true, and I hope it's true, but it might not be true. And that's, like, a hard thing to think about, but it's also, like, I don't put myself at fault or anything.
It's a hard thing to think about, because in a way it could be one of the most, like, disrespectful things that you could do to someone, right?
Right, by making something up that's not true.
Yeah.
Like, by
someone who's someone who's dead and therefore cannot even respond to it.
Yeah. Even if it's, like, praising their character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it still is, like, that might not be true.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't really be cool to be like, Ethan climbed the top of Mount Everest 20 times.
Right.
Like that.
Because what I said was just, like, I was new at the school in 4th grade. And I think that we were doing this. I could be so wrong. I remember doing this activity. I sat with 3 boys. It was, like, me and 3 boys, which is kind of nerve-wracking for, like, a new student. But it was also, like, alphabetical.
Yeah.
So, is what it is. But it was, like, me. You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know the other 2, I don't think. So, it doesn't matter. But Ethan and 2 other guys. And we were just sitting there. And we were doing this, like, marker thing where we had to, like, categorize these markers, like, expo markers in a certain way. And, like, none of them were, like, listening to me. And I think I got, like, frustrated and started crying. And in my message, I don't know if this is real or not, but, like, Ethan was the only one that comforted me. And I, like, so want to believe that.
Yeah.
I would believe it. Out of the 3 of the people I was sitting with, he would be the most likely to. So I want to believe it, but I don't know if it's true. Like, I don't know if that's factual or if I made that up.
There does seem to be, like, this weird kind of black and whiteness a lot of the time, like, when people die. Like, there's a lot of times when people die that, I don't know, when someone dies that people generally don't like, and they're like, oh, thank God, like, he's wiped off the face of the earth or something like that. Without, you know, acknowledging, like, that guy probably did a lot of good things, or girl did a lot of, like, really nice things for people that no one ever even thought about. And then vice versa, when someone that's liked by people generally. I mean, I don't really know anyone that really hated the guy.
Right.
But you just want to make him into, like, this, like, beautiful angel type of person. And I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. It's just kind of like the instinct that you kind of go towards.
Yeah.
I remember when I came to this Thurman Francis in 7th grade. And I'm with you because I might be conflating this, but I can't remember if he recognized me or if I recognized him. But either way, like who recognized who first from like soccer, like 5 years before, whenever he was tiny.
I saw him at soccer once. It was awkward.
Yeah. Like when he was really young, you're saying?
Maybe not when he was like super young, but we were definitely, I was probably in like 4th or 5th grade. We were definitely had already known each other, like from school. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I was like just in class and before like the school year had started, it was like a meet and greet kind of thing. I don't know. My mom was there and stuff, and like meeting the teachers.
It was probably like parent orientation, student orientation, something like that.
Yeah. And then I was in a class, and then I think he recognized me, and I remember I was talking to this guy Gavin was there, and then I remember Ashley was there too. Yeah, Ashley Barrientos was there. Yeah. And I think he might have been talking to her maybe, and then he looked at me, and then
he was like,
I can't remember yet. I know that we looked at each other, and we both, I don't know who came up with it first, but I was like, I know you.
You were like, I think I know.
Yeah, I was like, I know your face from somewhere, and then we kind of like tried to figure it out for a second. But he definitely was like, he was very relaxing to see, because like he was the only person there that was like, I know you, like I've seen you before, so this place isn't totally foreign to me, and it was really, really nice. I'm sure he obviously didn't feel that way because he had already been there and he knew everyone there. Yeah. But for me, that was really big for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not a large possibility, but I mean, he definitely made it a higher likelihood that I was even going to go to that school in the first place, just because of him being there.
You were like, oh,
I know
somebody.
It's not completely terrifying.
Right. Yeah. I totally get that. Yeah. I didn't know. Let's get into something different.
Okay.
It's about the same, like, not knowing anybody. I didn't know anybody that went there except for my older sister, right? And I started going there in 4th grade. First day of school. I will never forget this. First day of school, we walked into the, like, you know, like how, like, you're waiting for class to start, you walk into the gym and you sit there with, like, your grade level. Yeah. I go in there and I sit in, like, the 4th grade section, and none other than Corey Logan, my best friend, like, is sitting there too. And we had previously gone to Smyrna Elementary together. Yeah. We never talked to each other because we didn't have the same classes. But I had seen her before. I knew who she was. I saw her walk in. I'm pretty sure she was wearing, I want to say it was either a green or purple shirt. I don't remember the shirt. I just know it's one of those colors. And she had pigtails in her hair. And then we were in the same class. And the rest is history. But, like, I just, like, will never forget that. Like, she was the first person I saw there. I was like, I don't know this person, but I recognize them. Yeah. And then we've been best friends ever since. And in 4th grade, and even probably to this day, like, we get mistaken for sisters sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. So light of my life, honestly. I love her so much. But, like, that's, like, I'm excited. Such a good memory.
Probably talk to her tomorrow. I think.
I'm kind of upset that I won't be here. I know you kind of want to do it alone, but I'm like, I wanted to
do it with at least one person. Yeah. I was like, we can do 2. Yeah. We can do 2 people.
We could do 2. Or I could do 2.
I could do 2.
Excuse me? Excuse me? But yeah, I love her.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that we, I guess you would say, rekindled, because we didn't really talk much very frequently.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that's how we are too, like the two of us, like up until, and he shall who not be named, no, I'm just kidding, Joe is the reason why I'm even friends with any of you guys again, or like, you know, like he's the one who facilitated that, because I said yes to hanging out with him and then he brought me here.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely some level, but I wouldn't say he's responsible. Not entirely,
because I could have just, like, come here one time and been like, I'm out of here forever.
Yeah, but I mean, but before that, we had hung out, like, just you and me.
Oh, yeah, that's true, we did. At your house, yeah, we hung out first,
and we talked for a couple hours about your current relationship, I guess, and, like, what the plan was, I guess.
It wasn't my current relationship, it was my past relationship.
No, you were still with him.
Well, yeah, at the time, I guess at the time,
current. At the time,
not current now.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we talked then, and then I think it was only like maybe a month and a half later that you and Joe were hanging out. And
yeah, but we
saw
everything everywhere all at once before that too.
Yeah, that's true.
It was like it was like probably like 2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
Maybe even maybe more or less, give or take. But yeah, like I was gonna say, like we've been like that though. There was like periods. I was thinking about this on my drive here, where I was like, there's times when like we didn't really talk, but like we would send each other like odd like not odd, but like, you know, like odd in the fact that it's like we don't talk all the time, and we just send each other like messages sometimes. You would send me songs, which is like one of the things that I like love. Like I'm like, even if I don't love the song, like I'll still save the song. I might not listen to it like all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like, even if I don't love the song, I was like, oh, he listened to the song and he like thought about it enough to send it to me and be like, you should hear this. Yeah. Yeah. That's like,
it's just like reminded me of you, and I was like, you should hear this.
But we've always been like that, I think. And it's not a bad thing. Like where we just kind of like, we come together in certain points of our life. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like we make time for each other. Yeah. And that's like a valuable thing, because a lot of people won't do that. But like we've always made time for each other, even if it's not immediate. It's like, oh well, we can do this then, or I mean, and sometimes it's immediate. Like
even today, I was like, sure, come over. Yeah. You had a 3-hour notice, and I was like, sure. Yeah.
I was thinking about today too. That one time we went on a walk, because I was thinking about like how you said the other day, or like a while ago, you're like, oh, we're gonna be neighbors again, and I was like, yeah. And how we went on a walk one time, and we saw that snake. In the woods.
In my backyard.
Yeah, and then we ran out, and Jesse was like sitting there reading a book. And that was probably the only time, well, not the only time, there was like one other time. One of the only times I saw Jesse in the flesh as like a teenager.
Yeah, to you guys, just people who knew me, I guess Jesse was like this like enigma type person. Or not enigma, he was just like a myth. Yeah. Everybody was like,
it's so weird to me. I'm like, damn.
Just that you know him now?
Yeah, I'm like, now we're friends? Yeah. I'm like, what? Like, what? Yeah. It's so funny.
Everybody just, because I guess he was my older brother, and everybody was like, oh my God, I want to hang out with Jesse so bad.
Yes.
So bad.
Everybody feels that way when you have an older sibling. They're like, oh, I want to hang out with your older sibling.
I don't know, though, because I never felt that way about, like, I mean, for you, for example, I never felt like Alexandra or anything. I was like, yeah,
but she's, like, 10 years older, so it's a little bit different. Yeah. Like, Jesse's only, like, what, like 3 or 4 years older than you? It's 4.
4. Yeah, 4.
Yeah, so it's not that different. But, like, with Sarah Beth, but honestly, it goes back and forth anyways. Because it's like her friends would think that I was cool and like me as the little sibling. Yeah. And my friends would think that she was cool and like her as the older sibling. It's just kind of one of those things. Maybe it's just because me and Sarah Beth are fucking cool. I don't know.
Could be.
We're just cool as fuck. So
Jesse's friends were like that too sometimes. Yeah. Like they were like, oh my God, you're just the little Pandora.
Yeah, like you're cool, bro. Like
and I was like, I am? Yeah. I want to hang out with you guys. That's so cool.
That's so weird to me too, because there's people that my sister will never talk to again who still love me. Like her friends, like people that were considerably her best friends, who will never talk to her again. And it's mostly just because my sister won't talk to them. Yeah. Never will they talk again, but they just like love me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's good to know that not everybody is like, I will hate you forever because of what your sister did, or not even what she did, but, you know, just, like, because of what happened between us. Yeah. Like, that's cool to know. It makes me feel good about myself in a way. Maybe not in the right way. Because it also is, like, one of those things where it's, like, maybe I should hate them because my sister hates them.
Well, I would think about it more as... if they did hate you, hypothetically, these people that just because they hate your sister, like, I mean, I'd be a little hurt, but I would also sort of just, you know, like, you're being immature, like, this is not, just because we're part of the same family, I guess doesn't mean, like, we're the same person, and it's small-minded, I guess I think that way, and then I would compliment them to the fact that, like, oh, just because you hate my sister and you don't hate me, like, that's very big brained of you, so to speak.
I could see it working like vice versa too.
Yeah.
Like how like people that might hate me, which I don't really think that people hate me. I don't know if that's true, but I don't really think that people hate me. And maybe one or two people.
I feel the same about myself, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's like I don't really think that people hate me, but like vice versa. Like if somebody hated me, like they might not hate my sister. They might be open to talking to her more than me.
Oh my God, it's even worse. Have you ever had people like in that situation where they're just like asking you about your sister all the time or something like that?
Yeah.
And you're just like, why are you even talking? Like, clearly you just want to talk to my sister. Like, I'm not even part of this. Yeah. I'm just your...
That happened a lot.
I'm just your link.
That happens a lot to me in high school because they would be like, oh my God, SB, like, your sister, so fucking hot. Yeah. And then I have to hear that shit all the time from people I don't like. Like, from people I'm like, can you get the fuck out of my face? Like, that happened to me a lot. But it's like, I mean, mainly with Chuck, and I will say his name. I don't care. I'll slander his ass. You can
say his name.
Chuck. You know what you did. He will never see this, but
he just made like a gross comment or something, right?
He made a lot of gross comments about my sister. Multiple. A lot. Yeah. So he knows what he did.
But Chuck, with the if you are listening to this, I'd like to talk to you.
Fuck you.
I'd like to hang out.
No.
Jason would like
Shut up.
Jason would like to hang out.
He doesn't exist. Chuck is not a real person, actually. I made that up.
I thought it was funny because do you remember that period of time where you, me, and Julia would hang out?
Yes.
And then
besties.
Every single time we would hang out, Chuck would get brought up.
Really?
Yes. Yes, and one of you, I can't remember who it was.
Me or Julia would go off about how much we hate him.
It wasn't even about how much you hate him. Like, he's so funny. Like, he'd just do something ridiculous. It wasn't, sometimes
really?
Sometimes it was like we hate him, but
I feel like Julia was probably like, he's funny, and I was probably like,
Yeah, but you had your moments where you were like, Chuck did this funny fucking thing in class
I'm
today.
sure.
Like,
there was
just
one
absurdly funny, just like stupid thing. But, yeah, there was a period of time where it was like this thing that like I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would think about it like whenever we'd hang out, like, I wonder when Chuck's gonna get brought up, because it happens every time. And like
you would think about it.
Yeah, because I mean, but it was like a commonly shared thing. Like,
it was whenever we would mention it,
whenever it get brought up, it was like, oh my God, we brought up Chuck again, like every single time.
You're like,
okay, if Chuck is listening to this, everybody's like, let's fucking go.
Yeah,
like,
he's probably like,
they're talking about me.
They're talking about me.
They're talking about me.
Nobody hates Chuck more than Jotaro. I'll tell you that right now.
That's probably true.
And Jotaro went to the doctor one time, and Chuck was like her, like, whatever. I don't know what they're called,
like
because
an assistant, right?
Yeah, because he wasn't a nurse, obviously, because he doesn't have a degree yet, or he might now, but he didn't at the time. But he was working there, and she was like, "What the fuck?" She was like, I don't know him, but I think it's kind of funny. I don't know. Like, I was going to get into the fact that, like, me, you, and Julia were like this. But I don't even think it was for that long, you know? Like, we were, like...
It was maybe, like, a year or so.
Like, separately, all of us were friends, like, all the time. Like, we've never not been friends. Like, maybe, like, not friends. But, like...
I would say there's never been points in time where I didn't care about you guys.
Right,
there's been times where we didn't talk for
exactly.
years.
Yeah, so it's, like, not friends, but, like, we just didn't talk to each other frequently. But, yeah, I think about that a lot, obviously. Especially being, like, now, like, the first time... It might have been the first time I was here. Maybe not. But, like... You were here. I think Julia was here too. And I was like, oh my God.
Sure, I gave you a big
fat
hug. Oh, yeah.
My besties.
Yeah.
Because nothing will ever compare to that. I don't think anything has ever... Like, any friendship I've been in has ever been, like, that great. Even, like, for me. I'll say for me. Because I don't know how great it was for the two of you. But for me... Like, it was everything I ever needed and wanted at the time. So, like, yeah.
I hope this doesn't like taint.
What, you're gonna be like, I fucking hated you, actually.
No, just that specific moment. But I do remember when we were on our deck and you said that.
Oh yeah, I was like, besties.
Yeah, you were on a deck.
I have a video of it.
That we're together.
Yeah.
And I remember I had just, I don't know, I had a really stressful day.
You were like, why the fuck are you here?
And I had just like, I mean, my day was like, I was happy. I'm always happy to see you. But like, I was,
Valid.
I was at work and I almost left early. I remember that day because I was just like, I was really on edge the whole day. And then right before I came home, I stopped at the vape shop and I grabbed a kratom shot and I downed the whole thing. And then I saw you guys and I was like, oh shit, hey, what's going on?
Did you?
And then
you offered me a kratom shot one time when I took like part of it. I don't think it was the same night.
It probably wasn't.
But I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it was probably pretty gross. It's disgusting.
Anyways.
But I remember thinking, like, when you said that, I was thinking about like our place and time in that moment. And I was like, God damn, look at myself right now. I'm such a deadbeat. Like,
you're like, I'm so progressed.
Lost. Yeah, I'm just so lost. Exactly, I've never progressed, and I'm just like, I haven't moved on.
But for me, it's the exact opposite because it was like I was out of the realm of like all of you guys for so long, where I was like, oh, now I'm back. Yeah, it's like now I'm back to where I should be, I guess. Yeah. Like, quote unquote.
It was really nice to hear you say that and just hear you be like really excited about it though. Yeah. But I was like lying on the deck and I was like, God damn. Like, what have I become?
Yeah, I get that. Because you're just like, oh, it's like nothing changed.
Yeah, nothing changed.
But for me, everything changed.
Yeah.
So it was like very much, it was like really good feeling. I was like, okay, yeah. And then I think now, like, even where I'm at now, I think about all of us and like our friend group and like our friendships and stuff. And I'm like, this group of people, like, I don't ever like not want to be friends with them, even if there's like problems or like things like that, because I've really had to think about that like just in the past couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I was thinking today, I was like, I'm actually so grateful to people that are my friends. Like, even you just texting me and being like, I'm proud of you, like really like made a difference to me, because I mean, I don't hear that all that often from people. And so, like, hearing that, I was like, wow. Like, especially today, because I just wasn't good, like, most of today. I was just, like, not in a good headspace. So, it's just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that really means a lot. And just, like, talking to Joe and talking to Julia in separate, like, conversations, obviously. I was like, I'm grateful for both of these people despite everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
Like, they're all still solid friends in some ways and shapes and forms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I know at some point Julia's gonna do this with me, so
yeah.
You'll get to hear that, but I don't know.
She said we should do one together, and I was like, actually, yeah. I was like,
us three?
The three of us should do one together.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Even if we do individual ones, I would like that.
No, that sounds fun. I'd like to do it with the two of you guys. Because, I mean, we've just been friends for a long time. It's weird, though, because even in that whole, I would say in the whole friend group thing in high school, I guess, but I'd say before that, I don't even know if it's because I don't think I have a bad memory per se, but I really don't have a good recollection of what, like, when me and Julie would just, like, hang out.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't really remember, like, I know we went to the park all the time, and I know
That's so fucking sorry.
We went to her house a lot of the time, but I don't remember what we did.
What you did? Because you were smoking that fucking...
I wasn't even smoking at this time.
Devil's lettuce.
I was not high at this time.
This devil's lettuce.
I still had not smoked until you came in.
That was
the
my
mix,
fault.
Basically. Yeah, sure. You can blame it on you.
I will blame it on me.
I remember when you hugged me at the end of that day. You remember that?
No. But
you hugged me at the end of that day, and you're like, I'm sorry for being a bad influence.
Oh, I'm sure.
When you dropped me off, when Julia and you dropped me off. I was like, no, it's fine. I wanted to do this.
There were days of my, like, years of my life where I was like, fuck. I was like, I am the bad influence on both of them. I was like, I take responsibility for where they're at in life because it's my fault. Because they smoked because of me. And I was like, that's messed up.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I don't know if you guys see it that way, but there was times where I definitely saw it that way. And I was like...
I've never really seen it that way. Because I remember in middle school, before I even... Just when I first learned of kind of what weed was, just in middle school, I was thinking, like, I want to try this, like, sometime. Yeah. Like, if the situation was right in that... even when I was in 7th grade, if the situation was right...
I don't think I knew of weed in middle school.
It was either 7th or 8th grade, but yeah, I remember, like, thinking about it. But if the situation was right in that time period, then I probably would have smoked it, just even then, because I was like, I kind of wanted to try it.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see what this is like. What's all the fuss about? All these people going like, don't ever do this. Like everyone's like, don't ever smoke this ever. But even in that time period, I was still curious and open minded.
Weed is such a weird little drug, honestly. Like, it's like so weird to me because I could smoke weed like every day of my life for like years, and then like now it's like I am pretty sure I can never smoke weed again.
You don't smoke anymore?
Not really. I smoke very infrequently, and like when I do, it's because like I mean, I don't have a reason for doing it, but like I don't do it because it makes me anxious. Like I have like that genetic trait that like if I smoke, doesn't matter if it's 1 hit, 2 hits, like I will be anxious. And so I can't smoke anymore. But it's like for so long weed was like my life, I guess. Like it wasn't really like by choice either, but like it was.
I remember
like
I saw this tweet so long ago, and I still think about it because it pissed me off so much because it was so stupid. But it was something like, "Smoking weed is not a personality trait," and I was like, "It technically is.
It kind of is. I mean, it's not, but it is."
I see what the point was of the tweet, but it was like, you're really dumb for saying this. Like, it's just not. You're not thinking straight about what a person... Like, what does that even mean? What's a personality trait? It's just like things that you do. Like, if you smoke weed all the time, it's part of you.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you do.
It is a personality
and also
trait.
heavily influences, like, who you are as a person, for sure.
Speaking of which, and I've been refraining, but can I hit your vape?
Sure.
I was like, I can't ask that into the microphone. That's like...
I don't know what the other one is.
Down bad behavior.
Down bad behavior. I was wondering, I was like, is she going to ask?
I was like, let me be professional.
But
this vape tastes like oatmeal.
Really? It's mango ice.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah. It's a little bit like oatmeal.
It's mango oatmeal. But I'd say I'm in a similar boat with you. Like, I don't really smoke anymore. Yeah. Generally.
And I see that. Like I'll smoke occasionally, but it's usually if I have like 1 or 2 drinks in me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I could go for like a bowl, I guess. I also feel weird talking about this, but like...
I feel we're talking about it too. But then I generally regret it after I smoke it. I'm like, my whole world shifts and I'm like, what have I just done?
Yeah, it's so
just kept
weird.
With the drinks.
Yeah, it's so weird to think about. Because even then, even if I'm 1 or 2 drinks in, it could still make me anxious.
Yep.
And also, like, it's so weird to think about a life where I was like, I gotta smoke weed about this. Mm-hmm. You know, like every day. Like, it's like, what? Yeah. And I guess we can get into it, but like, even like my past relationship, and I'm not gonna say names just for professionality, like he has a profession that he's going into. Most people, if they're people we know who I'm talking about, but like he, so much of our relationship was about weed, and when I started to get anxious smoking weed all the time is when I started being like, do I even actually like this person? Like, do I even actually feel good about my relationship?
But do you think it was because of the weed? Like, do you think it was because of the weed influencing your brain? Or do you think it was possibly because of the fact that weed was so much a part of your relationship that the fact that you didn't like it anymore kind of wasn't really an option because you were with this person?
It was both, because our relationship was based off weed. Yeah. Like, the reason I even said yes to, like, dating him. Yeah. And stuff like that. It was all based on, oh, I smoke weed, you know? Like, it wasn't about, like, anything else, really, at the beginning. So, yeah. Like, it was both. It was definitely, like, and then it was just, like, such a big factor in our relationship that I was like, oh no, I don't know. Yeah, it was a big deal, I guess. And so when I would, like, honestly, when I'd be sober, not smoking weed, I'd be like, huh, maybe this isn't that. And then I smoked weed to, like, cope with the fact that I wasn't, like, happy in my relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, and it was definitely, like, it was both, for sure.
But would you still say any of that lingers on? Like, whenever you smoke weed, like, does that have anything to do with the fact that you get anxious, do you think?
That's a good question. Possibly. I think just because, like, it started in that relationship, me getting anxious, smoking weed, that it, like, transitioned. Like, yeah, I think that sometimes when I get anxious, it's not like I'm thinking of it, like, actively, but it's definitely a factor. Like, it's definitely something that I still deal with.
Yeah, it's probably a factor. I mean, I first started getting anxious when I smoked weed when I was, like, I don't know, like 18.
Yeah, same. I was probably like 18, yeah.
And I was hanging out with Kelly and Julia, and then
they
would always want to smoke.
Yeah. There was times
when I would
when...
just do it because they were smoking, but almost every time I'd just get like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? Like,
there was times when I was with them, too.
I would just be mostly quiet.
Yeah, when I was like, oh,
and they didn't really care because they were all like, like fucking laughing, doing their own fucking
thing. People, like, when you're anxious, smoking weed, especially if you're smoking weed with, like, new people or, like, smoking weed with people that don't get it or, like, know how to, like, comfort you, it's definitely, like, it's so...
That makes it even worse.
It's so much worse. Like, I get panic attacks. Like, it's not even just anxiety. It's, like, panic attacks where I'm just, like, I have to, like, I would leave my body right now if I could. But I can't. So, yeah, I don't really think it's, like, good for me. It's, like, every time now. I don't know. And, I mean, that's probably a good thing. It's probably good that I don't have, like, a
need for it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes I've been feeling it recently where I'm like, I should smoke weed about this. But I'm like, I mean, one, it's like I don't really have the access. Like, I'm sure I could find it, but I don't really want to. Like, yeah. Like, yeah,
I mean, whenever I would say recently, like in the past, like, I don't know, 6 months or so, whenever I've just kind of been not smoking because of that reason.
Yeah.
I guess because I'm like, this doesn't really help me feel good at all. Makes me overthink stuff. There was some times when I was going through something, I guess, or thinking about something. I was like, I need to smoke weed to think about this, and then I would just not think about that thing at all and think about everything else instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, so I just like wasted a bunch of time doing this.
Yeah.
And it was not fun.
I totally understand that because I feel similarly. Like, there's like, it's like hit or miss when I'm here. Like, if I am to smoke weed when I'm here or whatever, it's like, it's either going to be okay or it's going to be like, I cannot function right now. Like, I can't at all. Like, I don't even want to, like, be in my body. Like, exactly. It's just like, but why would you even, like, put yourself through that? You know?
Yeah,
it's like, there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I smoked a couple nights ago. Like, Josh just had his pen, and I hit it a couple times, and I guess that was the one time that a recent time that I was doing it, and it wasn't, like, awful. Like, it really opened my mind up to a lot of things in many, many different ways. Like, I was, like, one thing I did was I wanted to try all the different, not at that specific time, but I was like, I want to try a bunch of all these different coffees at, like, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like, I want to try every single one and see, like, what they're like once a day or something. And then I was thinking, like, oh, it'd be cool to, like, have a podcast, like, while I'm high and see, like, if it really fucks me up. And that I mean, obviously that scares me a lot to some extent, but also the thought of, like, you know, what if I have a terrible high on a podcast and then I put it out there and then it's like, well,
and you're like, shit,
that's already done.
Yeah.
Like,
I did that.
How is it going to get worse?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
you know.
Totally. I totally get that. Like, I don't even know now. Like, I can't. Dab pens? No. Just an absolute total no for me, because that's one of those things where I can hit it one time and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, it's too much.
The horrors are coming. Like, I can feel it. Like, it's definitely like a bodily thing for me too. Mm-hmm. It's like my like it's totally your like
muscles. I mean, my muscles are super tense.
Mine too, and it's like it's almost impossible to like not be tense. Like you can't like how many times have I like done breathing exercises when I'm high because my muscles are so tense that I like literally like, you know, can't function. That's really what it is. Like it's just like feeling tense and you're like, I can't.
Yeah, it's like, more than just a mental like it's physical too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's really bad.
Yeah.
And I mean I've had different phases with it too, I guess, because there was a long, I would say starting around then with like Julia and Kelly. I really had nothing to do with them, I think. I think it was just the fact that I would smoke a lot. Then my senior year I didn't really smoke that often. Like I almost didn't smoke at all the whole time. And every time I did smoke I was like I would have that feeling like, why am I doing this?
Yeah,
this is
what?
Not fun.
Yeah.
This did not add to anything. I'm just like nervous now. And then honestly it was up until like probably April or May or something whenever I started smoking with she wasn't my girlfriend at the time, but she ended up being my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there was something about, well, she smoked weed a lot too.
Right.
And there was something about that made me really comfortable with it now. Like I just didn't really feel that way anymore.
Yeah.
Almost ever. And then I smoked the heaviest that I've ever smoked in my entire life for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even awful. Like it just wasn't bad. Like it wasn't bad. I didn't feel phased at all.
Right.
Or anything like that. But I mean, I definitely had my fair share of bad highs around her, I guess. But I kind of just like got over it to some extent. I just stopped thinking about it. And then it impacted the weed like for all situations.
Yeah.
Like
I think that like when you asked me the question earlier about like if my past relationship has affected that too, I think that that's totally like something that I've dealt with too, because if I'm like my ex-boyfriend reluctantly, and I emphasis on reluctantly, would like, you know, like try to, it was either like he would try to like make me feel better, like less anxious, or he would be like, why the fuck do you feel that way? And like, you know, like berate me for that kind of thing. But like, yeah. So that's like, now it's like, I don't even, like, he was the only person that like knew how to help.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to, like, I can't have anybody else like help me. So he's the only one that knew how to help, even if it was, like I said, reluctantly, like very reluctantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also, it does affect me still now, because it's like nobody else can help me if I'm in that headspace where it's like I literally feel like I'm gonna explode.
You basically have to like suffer through it. It feels like you're like, all right, I got a few hours left, and hopefully, and after you're normally just fine. I mean, I guess I really only smoke at night.
Yeah.
If I do smoke.
Now it's one of those things where I'm like, I have to be alone to ride this out and try to like self-soothe instead of being around people.
But it's really crazy to me a lot now, because there's a lot of times where, like when you say, like you just said the word everyone else, like I have to shut my phone off.
Yeah,
like
because your phone makes it worse. Because I look at my phone.
Yeah. It's not even like anyone's texting me, but I look at my phone and I think about all the people that are in my contacts. And I'm like, what if they text me right now?
I don't think
like my phone is now a link to everyone else that I know that could like contact me all at once.
I don't think
I can't talk to you right now.
I don't think about that specifically, but if I'm too like high and anxious, I will just like literally like I can't respond to anybody. It's like I cannot respond to you. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just like I'm so like, and then like sometimes like, you know, sometimes in like anxious situations minus the weed, like you'll look at your phone just to like kind of like distract yourself from it, and it makes it 10 times worse when you're high. It's like, it's not distracting you. It's like making you more anxious because it's like you're overstimulated.
Oh, yeah.
It's like so much is going on where you're like, I can't look at this right now.
And I guess you only do that because that's kind of the go-to, like with you and me and most people like our age. It's like, you know, if you're anxious, you just like pull out your phone. It's like, what's the alternative? Like,
because
you can sit in a quiet room.
Yeah.
I guess.
But that's such a good way to like, maybe not when you're alone, it's a good way, but like if you're in a public situation, it's like if I'm looking at my phone, nobody's going to fucking talk to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not interested in what they're saying, so they don't have to like, I don't have to like deal with that. So I will look at my phone just to like avoid awkward situations or avoid like situations that might make me anxious. But when you're high, it's like worse. It's so much worse.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I don't really know like exactly like what it means, but I've been thinking a lot about how, like, I think this is maybe one of the many multifactorial reasons as to like why everyone's so anxious now. And I don't know, there's something to do about like, it's not even social media as in like there's a bunch of people around you. It's just like the culmination of everything that's designed for you, that we all have like our own little worlds that we kind of go into. Yeah. Like sometimes I think about like what it would be like if we just like swapped phones right now and we just scrolled through each other's Twitter and we're just like, what?
Yeah.
Why is this on?
I wonder honestly if it would be any different. I'm sure it would be different. Yeah. But
the fact that everyone's just in their algorithmic worlds that's designed to like keep you on. I don't know what that does to you.
It's a little fucking depressing to think about.
It is a little depressing, but like I get why people go there. I get why that's like where it's like I'm being me right now. I'm the most me because I'm just like scrolling through the things that I like and things that I don't like, but I like the fact that I don't like them. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's something that's so damaging about that. And like I said, I think it has a lot to do with anxiety and just dealing with, like, you just forget about things that are kind of outside of your world because of that. Like when you just encounter something that's like you didn't think of, just, I don't know, things happen all the time. Nothing big, just like simple things. And they just will like make you anxious or just like, or like, I didn't think this could happen, or I don't know, just random things of just, I don't know. I think it just happens when you're just sitting in your own world for too long. I don't know. There's something about that the algorithm will just like pretty well to some level like show you what you want to see. I don't know. I don't know. When I see a crowded room and everyone's on their phone, they're like, that's what I think about. Like everyone's just kind of like in their own world. Like no one's thinking about like what's around them. Yeah. And I think that damages you.
It does, because it damages like it literally damages your personal connections to other people too. Because like if you're not with somebody and you don't have like a conversation with them like without the phone or whatever, even social media in general, like it just kind of like it gives you access to people. And you're like, oh, I know this person. But you don't know them at all. Like, you've never fucking met this person in your life. But it's like, you know things about them. You know, like, their interests at least. Like, at the very least, you know what they're interested in because of what they post. So it's like, it's just very, like, weird. Like, it's just like, you know, it's just superficial because there's so many people, like, even for me, sometimes I will, like, my name on some of my social medias is sometimes just, like, Liv instead of Olivia. Random fucking people I've never met in my entire life. First time I see them in person or whatever, or even in messages, will, like, refer to me as Liv. And I'm like, you don't know me. Like, just because that's who I say I am, like, my name is Olivia. Like, you don't know me like that. You aren't allowed to say
I guess that kind of
those names.
Begs the question of, like why
nicknames.
Does anyone post anything?
Exactly. Like, it does.
No, I'm not saying that it's pointless. I'm saying, like, what's the actual reasoning behind, like, who are you posting to? Like, what's like the world to you? Because whenever I post something, I mean, on Twitter, I don't really post that often, but that's really just the only thing that I do post on.
Yeah, it's on Twitter.
But like when I think about who like when I think about I'm posting this publicly and I'm like, okay, the people who are gonna see this are the people that I know, like you and some of my other friends.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 50 people.
Right.
But I mean, it's people with like 500,000 followers or something. That's like,
yeah.
like who is the? What's like the? I don't know what you call it. Like what's the idea in your head when you're like, I'm gonna send this out? Like who you think is gonna see this and how they're gonna react, or do you even think about that?
I think about that. I think about that like heavily, and not even to like not. I don't think about every single person that's gonna see it, obviously, but like for me, and I think for a lot of people, I post for pure attention, and I'm not even gonna lie about that. Like I know that that's why I post. Like, if I'm posting something on Twitter, it's for attention. If I'm posting something on Instagram, it's for attention. It's literally just, like, so people are, like, being attentive to, like, my thoughts or, like, what I think about myself. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not even, like, there's no other reason for me to post, really. Because, like, and I think that it has something to do with, like, mental... Like, for me, at least, like, mental illness, like, mental health-wise, it's, like, sometimes it's easier to post things and be like, oh, this person's going to see this and I know they're going to see it, than to, like, have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and, like, bring it up to them. Like, it's one of those things, too. Yeah, especially
when you're posting something that is specifically about that other person, you mean?
Not, like, yes, but also no. Like, I will post things that are just, like, about me. You know? Like... about me or how I'm feeling, just so somebody else sees it. It's a little bit different when you're, like, replying to a post or, like, having your own opinion on somebody else's opinion. Like, that's a little bit different. That's, like, not as much for attention. It's more so just, like, let me put my thoughts out there and what I think and see if people, like, agree or disagree. But, like, if I'm posting about myself specifically or, like, a thought that I have, it's because... it's the need for attention, because it's like, it's either I can't say this to anybody right now, so I'm just going to post it online, mm-hmm. or, like, you know, like, I don't know if there's even an or, but, like, that's, like, a big thing for me, where I'm like, I can't say this to anybody, so I'm just going to post it.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people are going to see it, and maybe one of those people will have something to say.
Do you ever look at your, like, if you, I don't know, post something, then you look at, like, the views, like, you can see the people that, like, saw it, I guess. I think it's called impersonations or something on Twitter. I can't remember. Yeah. But, like, you know, sometimes I don't know how many followers you have, but I would guess, like, there's a good amount that it would be like 100 people.
Yeah, but it's at least 100 people that see my stuff. Like, maybe
that's a lot of people.
Like, I have, like, almost 600 followers on Twitter specifically.
Yeah,
and it's like at least 100 people see that, but that's not like at max, like, maybe one or two people. Well, that's not at max. That's at minimum. One or two people will interact. Mm-hmm. Maybe zero, but, like, at max is probably like 6 or 7. Maybe 8, you know, like, it's like, it's a very slim number in comparison to how many people are actually seeing it.
Yeah. I feel like you could easily get caught up in that, going like, oh, 100 people saw this. And it's hard to tell. I mean, saw is like, you could just go like this. Like, saw is like, you might not even read it. But still, if it says like 150 people saw it, and then you had like 2 likes, it's like, that seems very lonely.
It is lonely, because there's something sad. I guess also I don't only post for attention sometimes, like on Twitter specifically. I post for, like, humor. It's like, I think I'm being funny or whatever. And that's lonely when nobody thinks that you're funny when you say something that you think is funny. You're like, wait, like, why did nobody interact with this? Because I thought it was funny. Yeah. Jesse's calling me.
He's calling you?
What if I answered?
You could.
Should I put it on speaker?
Yeah, just put his voice next to the thing.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Are you busy right now?
I'm podcasting with Jason right now.
Oh, shit. Well, never mind. Go back to that.
Shut up, shit.
About your conversation today with you-know-who, but...
Oh, okay.
That's actually more important, so...
Yeah.
Tell him he's a bitch.
He can hear you.
Oh, good. Hey, you a bitch.
Hey, you a bitch.
You're both some bitches. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay.
Well, have fun.
Okay, I will.
See you guys later.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about there does seem to be this feeling from a lot of different people on Twitter of like this desperation of like I need to get seen. Not like I need to get seen, but like this tweet, whatever,
Yeah.
needs to get seen. Like
Sometimes,
I need this tweet to be seen by
sometimes you
people.
can literally feel it, or like when you read something, you're like, oh, they're just trying to get seen. But it's also like, then you think about your reasons for posting. I would assume that your reasons for posting are probably different from mine because you don't post as much.
Yeah,
like there's probably like a difference in that. But
my
like
reasons for I don't really.
Because you don't really post much at all. Like even on Twitter, like you probably use Twitter a lot, but I don't see you post all that often.
I do use Twitter way too often.
Yeah.
But when I say post, I'm not even counting like likes and retweets because even those are very slim.
Yeah, exactly.
But I use it for very not specific, but like it's got to do something for me. Like I'm picky.
Yeah.
But whenever I really post something like a text or a photo, it's normally like a text, but it's normally something that's maybe it's either thought-provoking that I would like someone to think about.
I can see that from you.
Or sometimes also in a community kind of way. Like I asked a question and I was like, hey, does anyone else feel this way? Like, is this a universal thing? And no one replied. And I was like, damn. I was hoping to spark a conversation.
Nobody's even said anything. Yeah.
Or... Yeah, I don't know if thought-provoking is the right word, but, like, just getting people to... Anyone who's going to see it to... I don't know. Like, I just romanticize the idea of, like, someone looking at their phone and they see, like, my tweet and they're like, huh.
Yeah.
And then their day changes.
Right,
you know? Like, that's kind of what I think.
I don't think that at all. I'm like, I hope you see my post and your day is ruined. No, I'm just kidding. But, like, sometimes I'm like, I hope this ruins somebody's day. Like, not always, but, like, you know. I also think, again, like I was saying, like mental health and like just like I post things for certain people for sure, especially like people I'm in a relationship with. Like I say things online that I don't feel like I can say to them like specifically, but it's like in the realm of like maybe they'll see this and like text me or like, you know, like spark a conversation with me about the specific thing because I'm posting it for them or for them to like express their concern or whatever, like, you know, like, and just be like, hey, like, should we talk about this? Or like, are you okay? Like, you know. And I don't like posting like that because again, it's like nobody fucking actually cares about any of that, like at all.
Yeah.
Because it's like the rest of the world, if I'm posting it for a specific person, the rest of the world don't give a shit. And I don't expect them to, and I don't want them to.
It's not even that it's the rest of the world for you. It's like whenever they're scrolling through their Twitter and they see that, it's also the rest of the world. Like you can think about it like there's your tweet and then everything outside, everything above and below that is the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, why should they... What is so important about your tweet?
That they need to acknowledge it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And text you about it or whatever.
I really have to pee.
Yeah, go pee.
Okay.
Yeah, we can stop for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of have to pee too now that you say that.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah, go pee.
Okay.
We'll pause. Okay, and we're back. I just started humming the... I feel like I've asked you this question before, but this is a random one. But, like, do you have a favorite Spider-Man? I was just humming the Amazing Spider-Man theme.
That's a good question. I mean...
So I just thought about it.
Like, honestly, I don't know if I have like, if you're talking about, like, the, like, live-action movies...
Yeah.
It's definitely Tobey Maguire, but that's because I'm a sucker for nostalgia. If you're talking about Spider-Man in general, it's Spider-Punk, and it's not because of the new movie. Like, it's partially because of that, but I read a comic...
You've seen the new movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Twice. But I read a comic book, like, a few years ago, probably after the first Spider-Verse came out. with him in it, and he's been my favorite since then. So it's not because of the movie, but the movie did make it better. It definitely improved.
That was Daniel Kaluuya, right?
Yes.
He was so good.
And
whenever I heard him talk, I was like, I know this voice, but he doesn't normally talk like that in a lot of his movies. He doesn't use his real accent. He uses his American one.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But to me, I was like when I first saw it, because Daniel Kaluuya was in the original seasons of Skins, and Skins is one of my favorite TV shows, and that's kind of like where he got his start. Okay. So when I saw it, I was like, Kenneth! I was like, Kenneth! Because that's his character in Skins. So I was like, oh my god, it's Kenneth! I love him! Seriously.
I like how we were just talking about smoking weed, and I just took a little baby hit of Billy's pen when I was like, I don't smoke weed anymore. So, but I don't know. I was like, I'll give it a nice taste. That's normally what I do. Yeah. I normally give it a taste to see because I don't mind giving taste. Yeah. But I'm like, what is this? Some of the tastes are crazy. I'm like, what does this one taste like? Just to get that in my, I don't know, in my brain of this one tastes like this, and
you're like, let me just
interesting to me.
Yeah,
I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Yeah, it's kind of weird because we only have about an hour left.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, fuck. It's not enough time.
I agree.
It's not enough time.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. I'm like, there's going to be a part 2.
There's definitely going to be a part 2.
Look out.
It's probably is not your last time.
Yeah.
I would hope not.
I hope
definitely
not
with just us two, but
yeah.
I mean, there's definitely going to be more with you and other people at least.
Yeah.
But I started thinking about this 10 minutes ago, I would say, but I was like, I'm going to talk to you about this. So I'd like to talk to you about, well, let's see, you got your BFA, Bachelor of Fine Arts degree.
My big fat ass degree.
But I'm going to pull Lex Friedman, and I'm going to ask you a simple question. What is art?
Girl. That's such a hard question because art is literally subjective. Art can be anything that you want it to be. And I've been thinking about that a lot in my own practice. What is my art? Where am I going after this? Because yes, ceramic, this might not answer your question specifically. Because like I said, art is subjective. Everybody has a different, thought about it or value on whatever they think is art. But for me, I've been thinking about it a lot in my own practice because I want to pursue ceramics, but ceramics is one of the most expensive and difficult things to do and have access to, because you have to have a kiln and you have to have all these expensive things if you want to do it the correct normal way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I don't have any after graduating, I don't have access to any of that shit unless I go to a residency or go to grad school.
Mm-hmm.
Or just I just don't have access to that stuff. So for me, it's I've been thinking about what my art is, and I've been thinking a lot about performance art or video, because I'm into that. I've done a couple of things that were video related.
What do you mean video?
What
is the video?
How my BFA show, I had the installation of the swing paired with the video.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an installation piece technically, because it's two things that are coinciding. Yeah. But I did a video last fall where I had I asked my friends to inflict some sort of pain on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that, there's more to it, but that was the basic premise. And it was just about humanity and about being uncomfortable and vulnerable, because it was an uncomfortable thing for my friends to do that to me. And it was also just about how they would react in that situation, because it's not I was gearing them to do anything or pushing their boundaries really. I was in a way, but not entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the...
They all knew they were doing it for this project that you were doing.
Well, I didn't tell all of them until they got there. Some of them knew about it. Some of them didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So it was... I've been thinking about that recently, about pursuing something like that more, because I feel performance art, because that's technically what it's classified as, is performance art. is like a very accessible way of making art.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think about like painting, because painting is so much more accessible than ceramics. Like it's so much easier, because it doesn't matter what kind of paints you use, you can still have so much skill with those things. Mm-hmm. But with ceramics, there's so many like specific things. You have to spend so much money on equipment and also clay and like underglaze or glaze or whatever. There's just so much money that goes into ceramics where I'm like, I have to like maybe not frame my work in a different way, but think about it in a different way for at least a little bit when those things aren't accessible to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I'm gonna name the different types of. I'm gonna try. Let's say this. I'm gonna try to name the different types of art that you can do, and I guess you can add some, because I'm sure you probably know more than I do. But let's see. There's painting, and I don't even know what the subcategories of that would be. Like, do you think drawing would be a subcategory of painting, or no?
Drawing, it's similar, but drawing is also like
it feels maybe too different.
Because it's different. Because
you could say
sure.
that oil, what's it called, oil painting?
Yeah.
That would be in the same category, obviously. Not because it just has painting, but like watercolor.
Yeah, those are two different mediums, but same category. Yeah.
Yeah. So there'd be like painting and drawing, and there'd be music.
Music is definitely an art form.
Music, ceramics. What's it called? What's it called when you make something out of paper? It's not origami. That's like a specific thing. What would you call that? That's a thing, right? Like there's a specific name for that.
Yeah, I'm blanking, but I guess technically there is a specific name.
Okay.
It's honestly, to me, the name I can think of right now is just like paper craft.
Yeah,
and it can get into sculpture technically too, like paper sculpture.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, I guess, okay. So with ceramics, what is the difference between ceramics and sculpture? Okay,
well, ceramics mostly is sculpture, I would say, but there's also like functional ceramics, which is like pottery, like like cups, bowls, all that stuff.
Yeah, things that
vases,
you can use.
Like things that you can use.
Yeah.
And then sculpture can really be anything. Like installation is technically sculpture because it's an installation, but you can make sculptures out of really anything. Found objects, wood, metal, glass, like all of those things can be sculpture. Ceramics can be sculpture.
Yeah.
Sculpture is probably one of the most broad types of art, because anything could really be sculpture. Like even like land art could technically be considered sculpture.
I guess I would use the term sculpture instead of ceramics, because sculpture is more broad. But there's also I could say movies.
I think movies.
But I would say what
you're
talking about is the same category as video. It's the same category.
It's similar.
It's not a movie, the same way a TV show isn't a movie.
Yeah, it's definitely similar. Like, it's similar in ways, but it's also vastly different. Because you can categorize like plays in movies in the same thing, or like musicals in movies in the same
there's
thing.
Like a script and everything.
But you can also categorize like plays and stuff as performance art, which is different. Like that's like video technically, but video can be film. Like it's all just like they kind of coincide a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there'd be like, would you call writing an art? I'd say probably, yeah.
I think it's an art, yeah.
Yeah. Like writing a book or a script or something.
Yeah. Because poetry,
poetry, yeah.
Poetry's definitely an art, and that's writing, so.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think that it's an art.
I don't know. What else would there be? I'm sure there's people. If anyone's listening to this, like, fucking, you didn't say my shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm missing so many. Even just when it comes to art, when it comes to, I don't know, you could put it into another category. Like, there's painting, drawing, and, ceramics, and all of those outside of writing. Like, you would not put writing in, music or movies in the same category as, doing stuff with your hands.
Yeah,
like in painting and drawing, there's some kind of, painting, it's literally called a canvas, but you could call the paper the canvas is such a loose term.
Yeah.
It's very broad. You
Painting,
call the paper a canvas.
Painting, really anything can be your canvas.
It's a symbol for just like emptiness of just like to place some type of art in, I guess.
Like the workshop I went to, like Kensuke, he was my instructor, but he like talked about how like the ceramics we were making is our canvas, which is true. Like because you still paint ceramics technically. Like you still like, it's not called painting most of the time, it's called glazing, but it's still like, that is still a thing where you're like, you're painting ceramics. And that's the appeal to me. That's like part of the appeal to me, because even Kelsey Duncan, like my ceramics professor, he was like, he told me like the first ceramics class that I took with him, he was like, the reason why he was a painting major, like that was his thing. And then he realized that ceramics is kind of like sculpture and painting. And I was like, you put it in such a way where I was like, oh, yeah, I like that, because now I can pursue these two things that are separate.
I'm genuinely asking because I don't know this, but so if you put, when I think sculpting, I only think of gray, right?
Gray?
Like the color gray, like that's, does it become ceramics if you paint it? Do you think?
Yeah.
Like if you paint a different color, because like you only see sculptures that are gray generally.
Right? I guess. I mean, like, all the, like, famous sculptures that are, like, you know, like David and all that stuff that are from, like, the Renaissance, all of them were painted at one point or another. They just, like, lost the, like, value in the painting because of how old they are. Like, it's maybe not all of them, because, like, marble and like,
or like
stone and stuff
bronze,
are like
like
bronze is like
that counts
a
casted
as a sculpture. Bronze is like casted usually, though. It's like you made the sculpture out of something else and then like casted it in bronze.
It's not as like direct hand to sculpture or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean I wouldn't say gray. That's kind of that's like a weird way to look at it, but I was thinking of
the cement color gray of being on all the sculptures that generally most people know about. The most famous ones, like the classic version. So I was thinking like,
I definitely think that a lot of like public sculpture that like you see in the outside world is definitely gray. I agree with that. Or just like colorless. Like it's not really colorful.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know what that would be called, but like memorials, like war memorials and stuff. Those are sculptures technically, but they are gray. Like they don't have color. Yeah.
What is it about ceramics that you think was the most, like, out of just, I've named several of them. I mean, there's many more, I'm sure, but why specifically ceramics? Like, what kind of drew you into that?
I think honestly, it's the fact that it's both. That it's sculpture and painting, because I think that my mind is geared more towards sculpture. I don't like drawing, and even though drawing and painting are separate, you have to draw. Like if you want to paint something realistic, you have to draw that on the canvas before you paint it. But sculpting is like, I can sculpt something realistic, and it's not as hard as like other forms of sculpture. Like it's way like, maybe for me, like I just feel like clay is so moldable. It's kind of like painting in a way where it's like ever changing until you like fire it, because then it's like cemented. But like it's ever changing when it's like that wet like clay. Like it's not like you can just mold it into whatever you want it to be. And it's much easier to like, at least for me, to visualize in like a sculpture instead of, because I can make whatever. Even if maybe I'm not, like, positive on how to make it at first. Because there's, like, different things that go into sculpture or, like, go into clay. Like, it can't be, like, a full, like, what do you call it? Like, it has to be hollowed out in some sort of way to, like, be fired properly. Because if it's if it's just, like, this one big hunk of clay, then it's going to take forever to dry. And it's going to take forever. Like when you fire it, it might fuck up, because when you fire it, like it's like shrinking and like it's expanding and shrinking. So like so many different things can happen in like the firing process.
And you started out painting, I'm assuming, because that's a much easier accessible one to start doing, because like you said, it's just cost effective.
Yeah,
really.
Definitely, because I can go buy craft paints from Walmart.
Like $5?
Like not even, like it's like $1. I mean, it's probably more now because of inflation and such, but at one time it was only like 99 cents for a craft paint, and that's like I can buy 5 of those for $5. Like, you know, like it's much more accessible, and you don't have to have like great paints to be a good painter.
That's true.
Like you don't.
Yeah.
It might not, like some people, like if you're really nitpicky about art, like you can like be like, that's not right. But
yeah, I mean, you can't really say that, like would, what's his name? Oh yeah. Would like Monet be a worse artist if he had access to worse paint? Like, he shouldn't be, right?
No, probably not. Be. Yeah.
Just because he just happened to, I mean, I don't even know if he did at the time. I don't know what was considered good paint, high quality paint, whatever. But I don't know. Do you think he'd be considered a worse artist if he was less, if he just had access to less, maybe amount of colors or quality of colors or something like that?
Yeah. That's also the beauty of painting, though. You really only need the primary colors and maybe like black and white to like make whatever you want. Like you don't have, because you can mix them. Like you can mix them into different colors and shades. So it's like, that is like also a very cost-effective thing. Because it's like instead of buying like every shade, every color of paint, you can buy red, yellow, and blue, and like black and white. You buy five tubes of paint and you're set, because you can mix whatever color you want.
Which gives you a lot of options.
Exactly.
I mean, you can mix so many different, it's just 5.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it just reminds me of I think there's 13 different notes for like music, right? I feel like you would know this. I feel like there's 13.
I think so.
I think there's 13 different notes, and then like every single song or whatever is based off those notes in some way or another.
Yeah. And
I guess there's something, well, for one, maybe, I just don't know, but I'm like, why is it 13? Like, is there a 14th that we just haven't found yet?
Maybe.
Or something?
I mean, like, music is different, too, though, because you have, like, sharps and flats, which I guess are technically more notes.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
but I guess...
But it's similar to painting in that way, where it's like you're just making a note from something that's already existing.
Exactly. Something that's already existing, and it's a finite, like, amount of something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so weird, though.
Yeah.
That we can just, like, do that.
It is weird. We can just, like,
make things out of essentially nothing.
Yeah. You literally can make anything out of nothing, really. Especially in art, if you want to get into, like, what is art.
The most artist person was the person who created paint? Because he created, like, paint out of, like, nothing? I mean, I guess not nothing. I don't know if it was one person. Do you see what I'm saying?
Theoretically, yeah, but, like, art has been around for centuries.
Yeah, in different
so
ways.
It's, like, everybody, like, you know, like, cave paintings and stuff.
Yeah, cave paintings,
They technically made paint, I guess. Yeah. But it's just, like, with natural herbs and, like, things that are around them. So
I wonder how many people did it with blood.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't think that... Well, I would think that blood would go away over time, though.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than, like, other substances.
Yeah, I guess cave painting was probably the first kind of... I mean, it's hard to say, but just... I would say it's just the only one that we have down, like, for record, that was probably the first thing that people were doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's also...
Or would you call, like a ritual? Would you call that, like, art, in a way? Or no? Maybe
almost,
not, actually.
Yeah, almost, because it could be. Like, at the workshop I was just at, one of the classes did a performance piece that was, like, guided meditation, and it was sort of like a ritual. They asked people to participate, and I was one of the participators.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
It's
participatory rituals where people, like, you know, the classic, like, they're, like, dancing and around kind of fire art, or something like that.
I would say that that's a form of art.
Yeah.
This is, like, something that, like, I don't even know. I don't like Joe's perspective on it all that much, but he's like, everything's art. And I'm like, you're kind of not wrong. Like, everything kind of is art.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
everything that's been, like, this microphone, everything that's been constructed and crafted and, like,
it's
everything.
insane.
That's all technically art because somebody made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that makes me think about the phrase that's like everyone's special, and then when I think about it, like, okay, if everyone's special, then no one's really special. If everyone's unique, then no one's like unique.
It's like everyone's an artist, but no one's really an artist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, everything is art. That doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, that's the whole like, what's the word? I guess like.
It's like yas.
Like, what is the word? What's the word for it? I guess imposter syndrome that artists have, where it's like, am I even really an artist? Like, I'm not doing anything like new or inventive. Yeah. That's the thing too. Like, if you want to make it now as an artist, if you want to be someone that's like well known by everybody, you have to be doing something that nobody's doing, and that's kind of impossible.
Yeah, but
it's almost impossible.
I mean, think about some of the people that like their work of art, maybe it's a book or a play or something like that, wasn't famous until
they died.
Hundreds of years after they died.
Yeah, exactly.
Like at the time, and for literally their whole life, they were like, my thing that I made like is not art. Or maybe not even that, just like it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, most famously,
it didn't resonate with anyone.
Most famously, people like cite Vincent van Gogh, because like he literally was like a poor, depressed, like mentally ill artist, and now he's like one of the most highly regaled artists ever, like in the like in the MoMA and places all around the world. His work is displayed for people to see, and it's like he never got to see that because he died.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
he
would have been
that.
For one really rich. I don't know if his family's rich, if he has any family anymore.
Yeah, if he has anybody.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I don't know.
He'd definitely be insanely wealthy if he was still alive.
Yeah,
just because of the art he made.
And there's like, with art and art history too, there's so much like, I guess like part of it's colonization, I guess, where it's just like you're stealing people's work and like putting it in a museum where it doesn't belong. Like it's like that's not your culturally, that's not yours to have. You know?
Well, that's kind of the whole debate going around about like use of like artily like AI images in like movies and stuff, like like de-aging or something. Not de-aging is not in the same realm. Like if the person's still alive,
but like
when
dead,
someone's died,
it's like you're using their like body for profit, but they're already dead.
Because but the whole thing that they're similar is that they don't have a say.
Yeah, exactly.
And like if the artist saw it in the museum, what if they don't like the museum? What if they don't want it there?
Yeah,
like
what if they don't want it there? Yeah, exactly. What if they don't like the people there?
And it's, I guess, the responsibility of the people putting up that artwork to be in an environment where it's, you know, what would you call it? Like, this would be a place where he would want it, sort of. Like, that's kind of your responsibility to judge.
Yeah.
Or if the family's alive, it's the family.
Yeah,
really.
Exactly. It reminds me of Carrie Fisher and how in the last, like, Star Wars trilogy, like, the last movie, she was, like, edited in for parts because she died. She died beforehand, so they had to, like, you know, I don't know what that's called. There's a word for it, I guess. I guess it's kind of CGI, but, like, how she was, like, edited into it. But, like, her daughter, like, Billie Lourd, was in the movie and was a part of it. Recently, Carrie Fisher got inducted into, like, the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And Billie, and Billie Lourd, like, her siblings were not invited. She was like, you're not allowed to come because they tried to profit off her mom after her death and, like, try to, like, you know, like, weren't respecting her. But, like, it's like, well, Billie Lourd was a part of that project. Like, even in the, I guess it's the Rise of Skywalker is what it's called. Like, in the parts where, like, Leia, they're, like, introducing that Leia had Jedi training. Billie Lourd was her, like, body double, but, like, her mom's face was, like...
Was that the last movie? Was she even in the last movie? I can't remember.
It was the last movie,
Okay.
Yeah, Billie Lourd was acting as her, but, like, her mom's face was, like, edited onto her face.
That's so
weird. Yeah.
Imagine you're just... That's so weird because you're not even you. Like, you're just acting as your mom?
Yeah.
That's so strange.
It is weird, but,
strange.
like, it makes sense why she would be, like... You know, like, you guys are not invited to this because you just try to profit. But it's, like, also, like...
You guys as in, like, the people that acted as her mom, like her daughters.
Well, yeah, her sibling. Like, Billie's siblings, I guess. Yeah.
Like, you're saying Billy didn't invite her siblings?
Yeah, Billy.
Oh, I thought you meant like Disney or whoever put the star there didn't invite any of her family.
No, Billy didn't invite her siblings. Like, Billy was like, you guys are barred from being here, because I guess she just didn't like the way that they handled her death, and like the fact that she was a celebrity, and like kind of try to profit off it.
I see.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's
it's definitely weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're right, like artists, like their family are in charge of it, but it's never really like.
I mean, Michelangelo's a good example of a sculptor, right? I mean, he was like, he had a really rough life. I mean, no one liked him because he was gay. Like, everyone just kind of outcasted him. He had to go to like many different places. I don't know almost nothing about it, so I'm just kind of spitballing.
I mean, I don't even know if that's true, but I believe you.
I know that he was like,
I've never heard.
I think he was cast out of a city for being gay, and like one of the main. When he was young, like probably mid-20s.
Yeah, I've never actually heard that, but I believe you, and I have seen people like discourse about how like Michelangelo was literally like the male physique and the male body was his interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I could see how he would be gay.
I'm just trying to remember that. I'm just trying to remember what part of the story, but I mean, there's definitely record of him saying that like he was gay and just, I don't know, talking about himself.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, I think it was because of that. Probably no one knew about him until he was dead. Like long after he was dead, no one really.
Because he was an outcast.
Yeah, I don't remember. I need to know how he died. I want to say it was like probably just a disease.
Probably that's how most of them died. That's also like, I feel like that's always what you're chasing as an artist too. Like, even if like art is very different, the way that I see it, and other people see it differently. The way that I see it, to be successful as an artist in our environment now, and like the climate that we're in, is like the path that I'm taking, I guess, of like how I want to get my MFA, like my master's degree, and become a professor. I see that as a success in art, because that's really the only way that you're like, obviously there's still people that get world-renowned famous that aren't like professors or whatever, but even those people, like even people that are like famous or highly regaled, they still teach. Like, I would say Kensuke, I'm not saying like he's super famous.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, but like I still think that a lot of people know who he is, and a lot of people have seen his sculptures before. Like, they're semi-recognizable, like. But he's just a professor in Little Rock, Arkansas. Like, he's not like, it's not like he's like everybody's talking about him.
I don't know, just a couple of the last things you said made me think of the whole, I mean, this is a stupid question, which is, I guess, what I'm talking about, which is ironic that it's a stupid question, but I'm sure you know about the submarine thing.
Well, duh.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me why that specific event everyone knows about.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make really that much sense to me as to why.
I guess it's just,
I mean, there's an absurdness of it. It's like, why were they going down there in the first place? There's
like the Titanic.
To the quality. Yeah, it's the Titanic. It's
the quality,
got this myth behind it.
Yeah.
There's the quality of the thing that they were in.
Yeah.
There's the people that were in it.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say like
the people that were related to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it doesn't make sense to me as to why everyone knows about this. Like, I don't remember the last thing that was, really. I mean, there was like, I guess you couldn't really give COVID as an example. It's not really, but I'm trying to remember what it was. But there hasn't been anything that really attracted people's attention more. Like, people get updates about the story,
right,
like, and they want to know.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird.
Yeah.
As to why. And obviously people picked up on that because I can't remember. It was some big news organization, but they were like, we're going to have a documentary
I saw
in like
that.
A day.
Yeah.
It's
like it's been like 4 days.
How can you have a good documentary?
You don't even know if they're alive or not.
Yeah, it made no sense to me at all.
Yeah.
And some people also picked up on it. I saw a meme of like, it was like a picture of like the same file, but it's like, it was like whatever news organization it was. I just don't remember.
Oh yeah, where it's like good or bad, like if they're dead or alive.
It was just like if they are dead and like if they're alive, and they're just like send it out.
Two different edits. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I just don't understand why. Like, why that story?
I don't either. I mean, honestly, like, I haven't
It's
really
so weird.
participated in any of the discourse. Like, obviously, I've seen all of it.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who's chronically online, chronically on Twitter, yeah, I've seen all of it. But, like, it's just, like, I don't know why it's that interesting to people.
And it's also, I mean, you know, while the whole thing was going on, even though it appears that they died on, like, Sunday.
Yeah, like,
but
instantly.
Everyone's been talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about it since Sunday or Monday, whenever it started.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a lot of people were just, like, joking about it. Like, this is so crazy. Like, look at these, basically,
even
look at these
now,
stupid idiots, like,
I'm
doing
like,
their thing.
Even now, they're still joking about it, and it's like, it's tired at this point. Like, it's been, like...
And there are some people, after they found out, or, like, just when the news was released, I think yesterday, that, like, they were dead, and that they just imploded. That some people are now, like, I'm going to go to hell for saying this. You know, like, that kind of demeanor. Like,
where it's like, oh...
But it's still kind of funny, but I'm still going to, like... It's so strange. Not that people are still saying it, but, like, obviously... Like, I didn't see a single thing that was like that until, like, they were apparently dead.
It puts a whole, like, moral grandstanding on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I see.
But yeah, I just can't wrap my head around as to why everyone is so captivated by this story. It's like there's no good reason for it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem any crazier than something that happened, like, last week.
Yeah. It's like literally that could happen to any, like, maybe not the whole, I think maybe that's why. It's like, literally that could happen to anybody. But it's like, I guess it's just the absurdity of the fact that it was a man-made submarine for this one reason as, like, an attraction, I guess. And then, it's like ridiculously expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why people would be, like, I guess, interested in it. Or
I guess it could be a little easier to kind of displace yourself from it because, well, for one, they're just rich people.
Yeah, it's not accessible to everyone.
It's not accessible to most people who are looking at it in the first place.
Yeah. Which is why I guess people see it as less of a tragedy than, like...
Exactly.
Like if you were on a
sailboat
or something. Yeah.
It, like, wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
And some people I've even seen people making fun of, like, the kids. They were like texting, like, my stepdad is on this thing. Or, like, I hope he's okay. And they're like, look at this fucking loser with this dumb stepdad.
Yeah.
And now his stepdad's, like, dead. And you're like, oh my God.
Like, oh, okay.
I don't know if you should have said that, brother.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah. I was looking at Michelangelo before I started talking about
how did
this.
he die?
He died at 88.
Oh, wow. That's a long life for his...
maybe he didn't...
For his time period, I guess.
Yeah. I saw a really good... I was scrolling through and I saw a good quote that he said.
I lose my shit over the fact that Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel and he just kind of sat up there, like, on his little scaffolding for days, never took his boots off.
Months, right?
Like, months, yeah. Never took his boots off, didn't stop, like, jeez. That's also a big thing, too. Like, people now, just because, I guess, of the environment and, like, consumerism and stuff, like, they want you to pump out art so fast, but it's like, I'm sorry, Michelangelo took years to paint that. Like, it wasn't like...
Yeah.
Like,
I just saw it. I mean, this is...
Sometimes art takes forever to, like, be a thing.
Like, the new... I saw an article today about the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
and it was just about how, like, 100 people left the set because they were working so long. Like, they were working 11-hour days, 7 days a week. Yeah. And a lot of people just left. Like, I can't believe what
those
are
kind of...
all those people on your shoulder going, like, we need this now.
Yeah.
Like, the last one was so good. Everyone loved it. People are waiting for this movie to come out, and it's on you to pump it out.
Those are kind of awful working conditions for an artist. But it's also...
like the worst.
I feel indifferent about it because obviously I'm an artist, but at the same time I'm like, I love that movie. So I'm like, all the craft and care and everything that was put into it is worth the results.
Yeah.
Even... And that might be wrong of me to say for, like, people suffering to make it, but it's like a lot of artists suffer to make what they're making.
I guess we only make the distinction of, like, this is a cruel working habit versus if the people were there were willingly going, like, I'm creating this art right now and I can't stop until it's done.
Cruel working habit for something to be consumed by other people, like consumerism.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, like, totally. Because if it was me making art and I was like killing myself making the art, it wouldn't matter to anybody because it's like I made it for my own reasoning. It's not like I'm making it for people to consume necessarily.
Yeah,
like,
at least not in a monetary way. Like you can make art to be like, I want people to see this, and I want people to like feel or experience this thing that I'm feeling, and like hopefully understand what I'm getting at.
I want somebody to relate to this.
Yeah, exactly. And not even for you, just to be like, I think this might help someone.
Yeah.
Like this feeling that like maybe I'm the first, the feeling like maybe I'm the first to ever feel this way.
And I can see why people would feel that way about Marvel specifically. Because Marvel is just like, they're on crack or something. I literally don't know what they're doing anymore. They need to be on
crack, I think. I think they're just they seem to be very lazy.
Yeah,
about how
agree.
They're doing their thing.
Yeah. And like, Across the Spider-Verse is like one of the Marvel movies because I haven't seen all of them, and I don't care to see all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I am a Spider-Man fan, and that's really the only Marvel character I care about. So I don't care about the rest of them, but like just the way that they're pumping that shit out and like are making dog shit movies because they're just pumping it out and they don't really care about what they're making.
I would say that like I guess it's technically a Marvel movie because in the Marvel, but whenever you watch either of those movies, the Spider-Verse movies, you're like, this does not feel like a Marvel movie. Like, it feels like so much more than a Marvel movie because, like, it really doesn't feel like that they had their paws in it. Because it feels like if they did, they would somehow fuck it up. And I would say the same thing about the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Like, they're not really the same. There's a whole different feel to them from every other Marvel movie, in my opinion, almost.
I didn't see the last Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, it's literally just like CGI the entire fucking time.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And it's like But like
I was
Spider-Verse.
It was my idea to watch it. We watched it like a few weeks ago because I don't know. I was just drunk and I was like, I really want to see that babyface fucking character in the movie.
Like, what is that?
So we turned it on because I was like, I want to laugh at something right now, and it was really entertaining. But the whole time I was watching it, I just kept making like jokes about like, I don't know, because like you said, the entire movie is CGI, and I'm like, wow, look at this woman standing on like a gigantic green screen with a huge it's just so
silly,
ridiculous. Yeah.
But like that's part of like when I watched Across the Spider-Verse for the first time, because I've seen it twice now.
It'd be funny if you just said Beyond the Spider-Verse and people are like, what? How have you seen it?
How have you seen it?
Everyone's like DMing like, what the fuck?
Like, do you have a leak?
Yeah, do you have a leak?
Like when I saw it for the first time, I was like blown away. Like, I was on the verge of tears the entire movie, but I was blown away by just like the art.
It was amazing.
And how so beautiful it was. It was so beautiful. So it's like, I could see why people are like mad about the working conditions or whatever, but it's like, you don't make like a movie that is that artistic without that level of effort.
Oh,
like, you don't.
Oh my God, yeah.
It doesn't exist. And that's why it's like, I think it's one of a kind, really, in a lot of ways because of that.
I want to rewatch the first one just to see, just anyways, but my main reason is I really want to see if the art is like different. If I can see like
it's
kind
so
of an
much
upgrade
different because I think
from this first to the second, or maybe a downgrade. I don't know if like the quality of the art gets better or something.
It's definitely an upgrade. Like, even like I watched the first movie, like before I saw the second one again, or before I watched the first movie again before I saw the second one.
Okay.
And it was just like, it's so good. Like, that movie's so good in itself, but it's the same art style and animation the entire time because it's not like they're playing with these different worlds. Like, they kind of are, but it's like all of these Spider-Men are in the same universe. It's not like they're flipping between like universes or anything like that.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes it good, is that every universe has a different style to it.
Yeah.
Like a different animation, a different
art
art style. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know how you do that.
Both of them are 5 out of 5 stars for me, but
me
like second one.
And that's a tough rating.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, I watch a lot of movies.
Me too. And like the second one blows the first one out of the water, even though they're both 5 out of 5.
I know.
Like, it still blows it out of the water. Like, there's no.
I just left both of them. I don't remember if I saw the first one in theaters. I probably didn't. But I left both of them after, going like, I don't know how this could have been like better.
Yeah.
Like, how could this really have been better?
I saw the first one in theaters, but I fell asleep.
Oh, that's
Not
really
gonna
tragic.
lie. Yeah, I know.
That sucks.
It was because it was late at night. If it wasn't as late as it was when I saw it, I probably wouldn't have fallen asleep. But I mean, I don't do that as much now. I used to fall asleep during movies at the movie theater all the time, especially as a kid. But I don't do that now, really.
I don't think I ever could when I was younger. I would be so... Generally, I mean, unless there was something else going on, like I'd been up for a while.
Yeah.
Or...
I think it was the environment that made me sleepy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I've always just been very, very...
Very, like...
awake most of the time when I'm
let
watching
me
a
get
movie.
myself comfortable in a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, you know.
I mean, even... Because I used to, like, buy some DVDs of stuff that I really liked. And when I would buy... I still do that sometimes, but now... But, like, back then, when I would buy them, I just watched them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
For, like, until I just got bored. But even, like, for every single one of those watches, probably, I don't remember just, like, falling asleep.
I used to do that, too. I can't do that anymore. Like, where it's like...
I can't because I just feel like it doesn't really... It will hurt my liking for the movie, so I just choose not to.
Yeah, that's why, like, when I saw Across the Spider-Verse the second time, I was like, it was still great. It was a great movie, but I wasn't, like... I didn't have the same euphoric feeling that I had the first time I watched it. And I was like, okay, this is going to... If I see this another time in any time recently, it's going to ruin it for me. Because it's like, then it's just like I'm going to get... Like, I expected everything. I knew some of the lines and, like, quoted them as they were saying them. So it's just kind of like...
Yeah, I think you need a certain amount of, like, respect for that. For, I don't know, just some movies.
But I used to do that all the time. Especially in middle school. I would rewatch the same movies over and over because I was like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I was not bored at all. I was like, it's happening.
It's like I could watch this over and over again.
It felt like it was kind of the first time. Not every time, but it was never like... Yeah. I was never thinking like, oh, this is going to happen.
Yeah,
I knew it was going to happen, but I was still so excited about it.
I still felt the same about
exactly.
the way that I felt the first time watching it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was totally invested. I guess now, sometimes I'll be rewatching them and I'm like, I'll be watching something else right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm that way with, like, TV shows, I guess. But I'm also... I said this earlier, I'm a sucker for nostalgia. So, like, if I'm watching... Like, I rewatch a lot of the same things, especially with TV shows, because I feel like TV shows are really hard to get into. Like, much harder than movies, just because it's like you have to put so much time and effort into watching it.
Yeah.
So I'll rewatch the same things, but the things that I rewatch, I'm still like just as happy and excited about it as the first time I watched it. That's like the only thing that, like, TV shows are the only thing that do that for me now. I think I don't think movies do that for me now as much as TV shows, because TV shows that. It's like there is so much content packed into one that you aren't going to remember everything. But a movie, you can remember everything. True. Like, you can remember everything if you've seen it recently. Yeah.
Yeah, movies are... I mean, TV shows are hard to get into. I was just watching... Like, Billy turned on an episode of It's Always Sunny, which I've never really seen. I've seen, like, a few episodes, but each one has been, like, you know, in halfway through the series, so I have no... Like, I have no connection at all to any of these people, and... Because of that, I really don't enjoy it as much. I'm just like, almost at all. I'm just like, it's like sometimes I think it's funny. Yeah. Other times I'm like, you're just being stupid. Yeah. But I think it's probably just because I don't get it, because I've never really watched. Yeah. I never put the time in to watch the show.
It's like the characters are very like curated, I guess, to be that specific character. Exactly. So if you haven't watched it from the beginning, you're kind of just like, okay, what?
And sometimes I'm drawn away. Just it had nothing to do with that show, but sometimes like. I'll finish a whole show because I'm like, I have to finish it. Even though maybe halfway through I'm thinking like, I don't want to keep watching. Like, this show's not entertaining for me. I'm like,
you're like, oh.
But like, what if it gets better? Like the hope of like, what if it gets better? And then it just doesn't get better. It's just kind of stupid. Yeah. And then it makes it much harder for me to get into TV shows because I'm wondering like, will I be too stubborn and to like turn it off when it's like actually bad or no?
That's a good question. This is kind of different, but it's kind of in the same vein. But, like, the only time that I besides for TV shows, because if it's something that I really like, then it doesn't matter. But, like, movies and sometimes TV shows, what makes them exciting, like, when you watch it a second time or a third time or whatever, is, like, if you're showing it to somebody new. That's what makes it exciting, because then you're like, oh, this person's reactions, even if you're not watching them react, but like you can like talk to them about it afterwards and be like, how did you feel about it? Because I feel this way. Like, yeah.
And sometimes I do really like that, but some other times it's like it's a very pressuring feeling.
Yeah, because you're like, what if they don't like it?
Yeah, or not even, it's like, sometimes you just decide, like, oh, they don't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just, like, making them suffer, like, through this TV show or movie.
Yeah.
And when they're probably just watching it because I asked them to or something.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of it doesn't set the tone for the movie, but it sets the tone of how I am going to talk to them about it whenever it's over.
Right.
Like, I'm more nervous.
You're going to be like, are they... Like, I don't know how they feel about this. Yeah. Like, for me, my favorite... I guess I could say it's my favorite TV show ever is Degrassi. And it's, like, in every reiteration of Degrassi. Because it started in the 80s. And that shit, I love that shit. The stuff that they made in the 2000s, love that. The stuff that they made in the 2010s, love that. Like, every iteration of Degrassi is my favorite. Like nothing compares to it. And I just recently started rewatching, like, Degrassi High, which is from, like, the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And I was, like, when I turned it on, I was, like, I still felt the same way, like, as watching it the first time.
Yeah, once you get invested enough into that world, just everything is, like, so amazing.
Because with Degrassi... if you watch all of it, and I haven't even seen technically the first, like, it's called, like, The Kids of Degrassi Street or whatever. I've never seen that because it's hard to find. Like, it's so old.
Oh, so it's, like, older.
Yeah, it's, like, it's from the 80s, but it's from, like, the early 80s, whereas, like, Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High are from, like, the late 80s. So, like, I've never seen Kids of Degrassi Street, but I'm sure if I watched that, I would probably have the same feelings as watching the rest of it.
Yeah, but the whole concept was based on that one. Is it a show?
Yeah, it was a show.
Okay.
And, like, but yeah, it's just like, what was I relating that to, or what was I trying to say? I don't know.
Just that it was your favorite TV show.
Yeah, it's just like every iteration, and that's like 20 plus seasons, probably like 26 seasons of TV that are like, that's a ridiculous amount of TV, and it's all good. Like, to me at least, even if the acting is bad, like, it's still good.
Yeah. And I wonder what that many, I don't know, like, I think the same thing about people that have watched, like, super long animes, like Naruto, or, like Dragon Ball Z. I wonder what watching that many TV series that I haven't seen, like, how different are they from me, sort of, like, how has that, like, shaped them?
Yeah.
I guess. Because they spent so much time in their head, like, thinking about it and, like, taking it in.
Yeah.
It's very strange, like, how you're, like, shaped, I guess.
That's, like, another thing, too. Like, you bring up Naruto. Like, Kendrick is making me watch Naruto now. And I've, for so long, have, like, not watched Naruto for a reason. Like, my sister was obsessed with Naruto in high school. And I haven't watched it for a reason. And it's still, like, sometimes, like, pulling teeth to get me to watch another episode. And it's, like, I know he...
How much have you watched?
We're on season 2 now.
Okay.
But...
I mean, there's, like 15 seasons, right?
Yeah, something like that. Because there's, like, Naruto and then, like, Naruto Shippuden, and they're both, like, 9 seasons long. So it's, like, 18.
And then there's Boruto.
Yeah. Which I don't think anybody's watched Boruto.
A lot of people like Boruto.
People have watched it, but it's not as
I had this guy I worked with named Brian, who was a huge Naruto fan, and he was a little slut for fucking Boruto. Like, not at the beginning, but, like...
eventually.
Not too far into the show. Like, he was like, dude, this is so fucking good. It's actually so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I haven't watched Naruto, especially, like, on my own, or, like, been interested in it, is because it is so long. And I'm like,
It's intimidating.
It's so long.
Yeah.
It's not... Yeah, it's intimidating. People like it too much, where I'm like, am I gonna... Like, I feel indifferent about it, where I'm like, what if I don't like it? And I feel kind of bad, too, because it's like, I know Kendrick likes it a lot, clearly. Enough to be like, let's watch this together. Yeah. And I'm still, like, iffy about it. But then when I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, this is, like, not too bad. Sometimes I'm like, it's a little bit slow paced. But sometimes I'm like, okay, it's not too bad. Like, it's pretty good, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for what it is. It's just, like, there's so many different factors, cultural factors, all this other stuff, where I'm like...
Yeah, people, like, that I know that will start talking about anime sometimes, I'm like, you're speaking a different language to me right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I like the fact that they're, like, you know, both, like, into it, I guess. It's normally dudes, and they're, like... It's, like... There's so many stupid questions that are, like, would fucking this guy beat this guy? And they start debating about, like, why they're gonna beat him, and the other guy's the opposite feeling. I don't fucking know. It's so silly to me, but it's still, like, really entertaining to watch.
I agree.
Just, like, go through all these, like... But this guy has this ability, and then the other guy's like, no, but this guy has this ability, which negates that ability, which therefore he wins, and you guys sucks, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could do that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I'm sure I will try as best as I can, but it'll probably take me a long time to watch it all.
Yeah.
Because, and then I'm like, but I could watch 26 seasons of Degrassi.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and if the roles were reversed, if you're like, Kendrick, please watch this because this is my favorite. And, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he might think the same thing you're thinking right now. It's like, it's okay. Yeah. Like, I can sit through it.
Kendrick hates TV shows.
Oh.
He loves movies. He hates TV shows. So, like, any TV show we try to watch, it's like, we're never going to... Like, we started watching Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't watched it since the first time we watched it. Like, you know, like, it's like he just doesn't like TV shows. Like, I try to get him to watch Skins too, and we watched the first 2 seasons because, like, Skins is like a different, like, generation of characters every 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the first 2 seasons, but we didn't finish the second season. There's only like 2 episodes left, and that was like months ago. Like, we could finish it easily, and he wouldn't have to watch the rest if he didn't want to, but we still haven't finished it. It's just like one of those things. Well,
do you think it's because of that reason that he just, like, is intimidated to the point, like, I don't even care, like, I
probably
shouldn't care about this?
Like,
I
don't think I would ever, like, I would want him to watch Degrassi just because I think it's that good and I think it's worth it, but I would never expect him to because it's, like, so long. I mean, even if you don't watch the, like, other, like, if you don't watch the early stuff and you don't watch, like, this, like, Netflix spin-off, like, it's not really a spin-off because it's, like, the same characters as the ending of The Next Generation. But The Next Generation itself is 14 seasons. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of seasons. Yeah. So it's, like, even if you just watch that, that's, like, too much. So it's, like, it's hard to ask somebody to watch that in the entirety. Yeah.
I get skeptical a lot of the times whenever, and sometimes I will, like, grill them, I guess, when, not grill, it's not the right word. Like, when someone asks me to watch something, I'll be like, why do you want me to watch it? Yeah. Because sometimes I'm like, are you just, kind of like you said, like when someone watch something and they, like, when they spend basically long enough on it or something, and they're like, this isn't really, like, I don't really care that I did this, but, like, it was worth it, I guess, or that's the question, I guess, is it worth it or not? And then sometimes I'm wondering if people are just recommending stuff to me because, like, do you want to watch it so it's, like, kind of, like, justify that it's worth it for you, for me, and also so you want someone to talk about it with. So they're kind of in the same realm, I guess, but just, like, I get
much
skeptical.
Easier to do that with movies because, like, you just have to spend, like,
it's only a couple hours.
1.5 hours to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at max on a movie. Like, it's like that's not as much of your time as, like, a whole TV show that's going to take months of your life. Yeah. Maybe even a year.
But have you ever been, like, talking to someone about, like, a movie, and then when it like, you'll talk about them for a couple minutes, like, something that you haven't seen that they have seen, and then a couple minutes you'll just be like, did you like it? Like, was it good? And they're like, yeah, it was okay. That's what they're, like, talking about the whole time. Yeah. You know, I'm like, then why do you want me to watch it if it wasn't
like, even worth watching your time? Yeah.
Some people just want to drag you down to watch, like, the same shit that they do.
Just to be like, I get it, though.
I don't mean that in a malicious way.
It's like they just want your perspective, too. Yeah.
And I want to feel, like, less alone.
Sometimes it's easy to just talk about a movie and be like, okay, but don't watch it. Like, but don't watch it. Like, I'm just complaining about this.
But that would make me watch it.
But don't watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be like, why do they not want me to watch it?
Yeah. reverse psychology.
Yeah. Did it, what did it feel like whenever people came to see your show? Your art show, which was in...
It was in April.
April.
Yeah. I don't know, honestly. Like, it felt good. I got a lot of positive responses. I'm glad that I did, like, the guest book the way that I did, where people could write their responses, because I can, like, go back and read those things, and that's kind of validating. And there was a lot of people in those responses that, like, did relate to it and had, like, not everyone. Some people were just like, good job, you know, but, like, a lot of people were, like, validating me. But I still feel very, like, not pleased with myself and with it. Like, I know I could have done better. I think I did good for the amount of time I had and, like, what I did, and I feel proud of it in a way. And like I said, it was, like, people's responses were honestly, like, positive. Like, I don't think I got a single, like, negative response about it, except for maybe my professors. But that was just because of my, like, lack of time management. And I think the lack of time management is also what makes me feel guilty and bad about it, too. Where I'm like, it wasn't as successful as it could have been. It's really just, like, a self thing. I don't think that other people saw it that way, though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought it was good for what it was.
Well, yeah, but you could say that's because they're not in that world.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when they look at something that you did, they're like, your professors, unlike like me or anyone else, is going to know, like, how much time that took.
Right.
I have no real good scale for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, it depends on how good of an artist you are, too. Like, you can do things in a small amount of time and it can still be successful. Like, time is really weird in art, because you could do something in 2 hours that people are going to like more than, like, something that took you 2 months.
Yeah, the time period doesn't really define exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah, but it's just more of, like, a personal, like, thing where I'm like, I could have spent a lot more time on these things, and it would have been, like, 10 times better than what it was. Because a lot of it, to me, is still, like, left unfinished or unresolved. Maybe not unfinished, but just, like, unresolved in certain aspects.
Like the pieces themselves, or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly. Not really the idea. I mean, even maybe the idea, because I was kind of, like, running away from it for a while, because it was very, like, introspective, and it was, like, about me as a person and everything that I was involved in and stuff.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I was running away from it because it was, like, so deeply personal, where I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with this right now. And that affected, like, my time management and stuff, too.
And you just think you just could have added more to everything?
Yeah.
I guess because there was more to it than you thought.
There's so many, like, every single piece in that show could have had more. Could have had more time and energy put into it, and it would have been better. It would have been more successful.
But do you think you were thinking that during?
What'd you say?
Oh, are you still parked behind him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can just end it.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
We gotta go in a couple minutes. Anyways. But thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I had a good time.
Hold on. What was the I want to finish the last thing I was talking about. Just, like, barely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Time management, art. I said that everything could have been better.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you thought that, like, during the process, like, was the process sort of like, oh my God, this is the thing that's gonna, like, complete this, and then did you have anything after that?
It was a little bit of both, honestly. Okay. It was like, I definitely, during the process, it was mostly time management that got me. Like, I was there until 7 a.m. the same day it opened, like, from, like, 1 p.m. Sunday to 7 a.m. on Monday, and Monday it, like, opened. Still working on things. So it's like, it was really the time management that fucked me over, and a lot of the, like, additions that I could have added, and, like, that I thought would have been more successful. Yeah. I mean, and then there's things that I look at afterwards too, where I'm like, oh, I could have done this.
Deadlines are helpful. I mean, to some extent. But sometimes they can be, you know, really hurtful, like what you're doing. Yeah. Like, you know, the classic phrase, like, you can't rush art.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
But they rushed the Across the Spider-Verse movie, and it was really fucking good.
It was really fucking good.
Pretty amazing.
So, yeah. But they also had 100 plus people working on it.
So. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks
it was
for
very
having
nice
me.
having you.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
we'll do this again.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah.
Peace out, bros.
Bye.
Bye.